to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I am your host, Ben Hanson, joined as always by trusty co-host Timothy Turi.
Ben, how are you?
Doing real good. How are you?
I'm doing even better now that we're joined by these two lovely people.
Oh. They are the prettiest people in the Game Informer office. Starting with second prettiest, we have Kimberley Wallace, everybody.
Man.
And then we
always
have
a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Boo-hoo. And then Andrew Reiner.
Always a bride.
You just said he's the prettiest because he's your boss.
That's true. But also, second
Raises for everyone.
second show in a row here, Reiner. Congratulations.
Seriously. Well,
Yeah, no
it seems
kidding.
like
That's
we've
quite
been
the streak.
gone for a full beard.
Oh!
It's like half a beard, I think. That's the time we've been away from this podcast.
Yeah, what is the... I forgot to ask why the beard? Like, what made you...
Oh, it's because of the writer's strike. No, there's
For those
there's no
watching
reason.
on YouTube, Ben Hanson has a beard.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be shaving it tonight, actually. So
Oh,
it's,
really?
it's gone forever.
Last appearance, guys,
Why?
right
It's
here.
the Lance Dance with Mary
I
Jane.
kind of like
here.
it, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Where's it
Yeah.
going? Why are you doing that?
I don't know.
Why-
It's just for the sake of experiment. And now it's like, all right, experiment's over. I know what it looks like. Time to get back to not wearing this. Because, like, genuinely, maybe it's just like a New Year's thing that I felt this, but when I'm hungover or just not feeling great, it really is unnerving to me.
To have facial?
Yeah, like it's just like, oh, I need to get this off my face. Because I have this weird OCD thing where I don't like things on my body. Like, I don't wear any jewelry ever because I would just be driven insane by it. And it's in a similar vein.
You don't like accessories.
That's right. And a beard is the
the
ultimate
ultimate
accessory.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, goodbye,
Yeah.
beard.
See you later.
See ya.
See you, buddy.
I think it looked good. And it was almost to the point where it was longer than your hair.
Oh,
getting
that's
there.
true. I think it would be if I pulled it out. But anyways, enough about this beard. We got a lot of good
All right,
beard
all right,
Informer?
all right.
Right.
Hot games. Hot games. So,
hot.
big announcement this week. Doom is our cover story.
Yes.
And you, Reiner, actually went to id down in Texas and got to see and play some of the new Doom.
Yeah. I didn't know that id moved offices. So going down there, I was like all excited, like, okay, we're going to this, the shrine of game development
Yeah.
where Carmack and all these guys were. And then we get there, and Marty Stratton, the game director and executive producer on the new Doom, gave us a tour, and he's like, yeah, I think we moved in here like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, oh.
Wah, wah.
Was this your first time there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was like,
What a bummer.
that's one place I never got to see, and it's gone now forever. The original id.
Don't you just want to like go to whatever Panera Bread moved into the original id office and be like, do you know where you're at? Look at this wall. It was touched
If you
by
walk through that
legends.
wall, there's actually John Romero's head on a spike.
It's on.
They keep the extra buns in there.
So what was the big takeaway from your visit? What was it like down there?
So we got to play the new Doom. We got to play 2 levels. We saw another one that was played by one of the other directors on the project. And I loved it. I absolutely thought it was amazing. We also played Snap Map and Deathmatch. We played a fair amount of multiplayer. And everything you've seen, like you see the videos at E3 and QuakeCon and all that stuff. And it's fast-paced, but you don't really know how fast it is until you really get your hands on it. It's one of those games you can kind of watch and be like, oh, okay, I'll do that and that. But once you're in there, it just seems like it's cooking.
Here's the core question, and one that I think Tim will care a lot about. Controller or mouse and keyboard when you're down there? What do they hand you?
The first question I asked them is they brought us in a conference room and it had all these crazy, like almost like neon BMX chairs that we're sitting in, like
Nice.
these gamer chairs.
That's cool.
Screens in front of every chair, keyboard, right next to the keyboard, the controller. So I was immediately confused and worried.
Oh, so you use the keyboard and have your hand on the controller.
But
it's
I
like
asked
X-Wing.
Marty. So the question I asked, I was like, okay. I thought this was intelligent. I was like, what do you guys play here? Keyboard or controller? And they're like, oh, we're all on controller.
Oh, boy.
And at that point, I was like, wow, okay. So I gladly picked up the controller and played on the controller.
I mean, at a certain point, I think like even people that I feel like there's a lot of people that used to be controller mouse or keyboard mouse purists, and they've just switched over because it's more comfortable. I don't know.
People like to lean back in a couch, it turns out. So
Yeah.
But if you're giving up
But
an
you had the
ounce of
option.
if you're giving up an ounce of precision, I think that's where I think people deter. But I wonder if it's like is the game balanced around? More games are balanced around
good
controllers
question.
now. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, it
that's
could
something
be.
we'll find out when the
That
game
was
comes out.
not the answer I expected.
Yeah,
you to
right.
say.
I didn't either. So I was like,
Sacrilegious.
I imagine like Return to Form, like Doom 4, man. This is your daddy's Doom, I guess.
Hang on, I wanted to ask about that because Wade Wojcik, fellow video guy, put together a wonderful video trailer, and I was writing up the description for, and in it I wrote like, "Oh, id's reboot of the Doom series." But then I was like, "Well, wait a minute, is this a reboot? Because
Yeah,
4's off it. So what is this thing?"
It technically is. Obviously, they're not like undoing their lore, whatever little there was.
They're all kind of the same game,
Right.
like structurally, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of, boy, what do you compare it to? Zelda, you know, where you're always kind of going after the princess.
Zelda, Star Wars, yeah.
You know what I mean?
BioShock.
Yeah.
But it is, it is technically a reboot, and they are. It's cool you brought up Dead Space because it reminded me a lot of Dead Space, the way the story is being told. And you don't think of Doom having a story or wanting to be interested in a story in a Doom game, but it's there and it's subtle though. It's like you'll go open shutters that kind of open these windows that peer out onto Mars. That's the first time you get to see the surface in the level we're in. And as the shutters are opening, there's a woman that's sitting there talking to you. This evil woman, Olivia Perez, I believe her name is. So there's other characters in the universe
That's
that you're
the
like,
character's name is Olivia?
Yeah, I believe so. But
Gotta
she's like
watch out
talking
for
about.
Olivia's.
Yeah, right. I mean, Olivia was my favorite demon type in Doom 1. You go into a room, and then it's just the lights come on, and it's just Olivia's everywhere, and the fireballs mostly. What?
Yeah, so she's talking to you about like, modding and like, creating like weapons out of these demons, and that's why they open this kind of hellmouth. Like they're kind of weaponizing hell almost. It seems like. Doing these horrible experiments on them, and
Is this like a cutscene? Can you run away from
you
her?
could run away from it, and then
Okay,
I think
thank
you would probably just hear it over the loudspeakers. Then,
So
so
it's
it's very
can't
active.
escape from Olivia.
Yeah, it's a lot like Dead Space, where it's told
Interesting.
as you're playing, right? But the game itself it's still Doom at heart. Like the whole thing is you don't stop moving, no matter what. You do not stop moving. You stop in a battle, you're dead.
It's like
and I mean, yeah, and it's like okay, you're about to die, flashing. Your instinct is go find cover. That's not going to work for you. What you want to do is just clear a path in front of you where that is kind of your zone to catch your breath, maybe look for health, because you don't regenerate health. You got to find health.
Right.
Or pull out a chainsaw if there's like a possessed in front of you. Do the chainsaw, because when you use the chainsaw, that gives you more drops. So it's like a risk reward getting close to an enemy. Gosh. You end up having to get more.
Like Doom defined like FPSs, like modern FPSs after Wolfenstein. And it was criticized, I think, for some of the design sort of tenets that carried over, which is that it's a lot of corridors, monsters in closets when you walk across the invisible trip line, and then it would open up occasionally and there'd be just a ton of enemies dumped in there. And it was really just a mix of those two things. I'm curious where you feel like it's going. Is it just a lot of corridors, or what? Is there more verticality?
There's a lot of verticality in this game, but at the same time, it's still kind of harking back to the original Doom, where it's like, that's a yellow keycard door.
Sure.
That's a red keycard door. That's the blue door. So you still have kind of this tenet of wanting to find these cards, explore to get cards, go back. But at the same time, as you're in an environment, and it's, again, very much like Dead Space, the UAC station we were in, heavily cluttered with stuff, technology, high technology in disarray. It looks beautiful, but you'll look up and be like, can I jump up to that box? So you like jump up. Oh, there's a box over there, jump over there. And eventually you're on this different path through the environment that leads you to one thing we found was a plasma rifle that if you didn't do that, you wouldn't get this weapon early in the game.
Okay.
But if you go that way, you can get it early.
That's Doom too. Like you get the shotgun earlier than there's a shotgun hidden earlier than you would just stumble upon it. But what is the climbing like? Is it sort of the FPS sort of clamber up?
It automatically grabs on, and then you get a double jump later in the game, so you could do bigger jumps and find more secrets.
You talk about those key cards.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about it? Like, I think of a game that I'm sure they would love being compared to, which is Duke Nukem Forever. Like, in the beginning of that, like, there's even a joke about, like, he's like, key cards, I don't need no stinking key cards anymore. And then he punches it. Like, oh, that's a relic of the past. We don't want it. But this is embracing the crappy key cards?
I guess the thing in the 2 levels I saw is they distance themselves between each card more than you have in other Dooms. So it's like, okay, I open this door, tons of combat and crazy things going on. Kind of loop back around, still like on this path. Then I get the next card. It's not like boom, 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 where it just feels like you're in a keycard simulator.
Okay.
And
it's almost just like chapters, like it almost feels like they're kind of chapter points in the game.
Okay.
I think the keycard thing hurt Doom when they got into their more like nonsensical labyrinthine kind of maps where all you're looking at is like the map array over it and you're just looking at that like sort of line grid or whatever. But I think that given a different, sensibility for level design, that like if you just focus on classic combat and not try to like throw in a bunch of environmental puzzles or whatever, and it's just getting a key card that like if everything else is firing on all cylinders, I'm not opposed to that kind of game. It's the same feeling when you boot up Serious Sam or something, just kind of like, oh, I just want to shoot stuff, you know?
Yeah, and the game's still a ways away. I think I don't remember if they even have a release date at this point yet. I don't think
really?
they do.
They're not ballparking 2016?
It's this year.
It
yeah,
is.
but I'm not sure where it falls there yet, but it feels so damn good at this point.
Yeah.
The controls, like we walked out of there like, Bert's is the ultimate skeptic of games and all that
For sure.
stuff. And,
That's
and
why
he
we love
walked
him.
out of there like singing its praises, like this is one of my most anticipated games of the year now.
Awesome.
And I'm right there with him. Like it is super, super, super cool.
Is it an easy analogy to say like what Machine Games did for Wolfenstein? It looks like it's doing for
Yeah.
Doom. That
Yeah.
level of reinvention, but
Yep.
like sustaining the past and quality and
Yeah, I kind of like, Bethesda picked up id, 5, 6, 10 years ago, however many
I think like a
years
rage
ago.
and a half ago. Yeah.
But I mean, it was very, very clear that they just wanted to kind of go back to square one with these games, kind of like the Force Awakens, right? And just kind of bring back the best elements of it, but also kind of make it a modern, new thing that kind of fits in the landscape of shooters. But there is nothing like it on the market at this point that Bertz and I could pinpoint where it is. You just keep moving. You throw in these really visceral, over the top executions called glory kills, which I know a lot of people were kind of criticizing it or being very skeptical when they saw the videos.
I was a skeptic.
But man, you need those in there to just take a quick breather, because when you're in the flow of combat and everything's clicking, it's like you got the super shotgun out, headshot, knocking a guy's head off, run, double jump up onto a ledge, come down on top of a guy that you hit with a rocket as you're going up. He's stunned. You execute him with a glory kill as you land on his head, smash his head into the ground, flip your head up, pull out your chain gun, go to the mod. So you have, when you mod the chain gun, it becomes 3 guns basically in one. So it's like 3, and you're just mowing guys
Spread
down.
shot, basically.
Yeah, just guys coming at you. I mean, it's
sounds
all
pretty good.
super fast.
Yeah.
The glory kill thing, I think we talked about it a little bit before, but it reminds me like Resident Evil 4 QuickTime, like where it's just like, okay, I'm invincible for this brief second, and I'm gonna kind of like, okay, now I'm going over there.
Yeah, or if the guy's stunned, you could just be like, bam,
Right, yeah.
keep going. Or you
just
can go in there, take your quick breather second. You get, again, when you do these melee kind of moves, you get more health back or ammo, stuff like that. So there is a huge benefit for doing these kind of things, or using, like I said, the chainsaw. But yeah, when it is clicking, it is just a roaring game, and it's almost like the kills are lining up with the music, which is very Nine Inch Nails-esque.
Which is good. Yeah. So you're already pretty hot on this game coming out of E3. I'm curious what your biggest sort of like takeaway from visiting id and having extended time with it. Just like, was there anything that what sort of are you newly excited about?
Snap map.
Yeah.
I usually don't do a lot of modding stuff, but kind of like Mario Maker, I got into that pretty big this year.
Okay.
And again, it's just simplicity of being able to make something. Like we made single player maps in 30 minutes.
I didn't know you made single player maps.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So we did like a single player map, or I guess you could say you can make them for co-op or whatever.
Okay.
But then,
There's co-op?
yeah, you could do 4-player co-op in the Snap map,
I don't know if I knew that.
or you could
That's
do 4-player deathmatch. It's only 4-player in Snap map.
That's
for
fine.
deathmatch.
That actually makes me more excited. There's less pressure if it's just like 4 people. I did not know about the co-op thing. So you
Yeah,
can.
so we actually played a level they made in 12 hours. They said that was tower defense, 4-player. So it was Bert's, myself, Wade, and then someone else from the team. And it had everything from tower defense. You could build up defensive walls, turrets, have AI on your side fighting with you. And then there was a portal that led to a shop after each wave where you could go buy new guns, upgrade your defenses, all that stuff. And that was all made simply in Snap Map. And they showed us, they pulled out and showed us the logic and all that stuff that's used. And it's as simple as connecting like 2 nodes, or, like, okay, I want this door to be open when you hit this button, and you just link a line.
Cool.
And it opens it. And you can even have like AI or enemies auto-populate, where you just like click a button. It's like they'll appear throughout the map. They kind of intelligently kind of scatter them.
Huh.
It's very cool. So yeah, I can't wait to see what people make in that. They did things like, they didn't show us this, but they said that you can do things like limiting the number of rounds that someone has. So I can give you a gun with 3 shots. And then you could set up like a bunch of enemies and explosive barrels and be like, kill all these enemies in 3 shots. And you can even do things like your character can't even move. So you got to do it like almost Red Faction guerrilla-esque, like figure out how to start a chain reaction.
Interesting.
So you can do like puzzle levels in it too. Yeah, that was super cool. But just the game itself, how it feels, the gunplay, the variety of weapons, all of it's super impressive.
Huh.
And I
By the
can't
way,
wait for this to come out.
You did a real good job on last week's episode having a poker face when Tim's like, I'm super excited for Doom. And you're like, boy, yeah, last time I played Doom at E3, where it's like, you just gotten back from the trip like a week before or something.
That's what sucks about being in this position where we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yet. It's yeah.
But now
that was
it's
rough.
just this effusive sort of payoff afterwards.
Yeah. You want to talk about like the month of coverage that we have rolling out on the site? What kind of stuff?
Yeah, so everything we kind of talked about here today, we're going to have extensively on the site. In-depth single player for 2 levels, and then we even had a demo of a 3rd level, which is very Mass Effect-esque in its
The setting?
interior. Yeah, it's like a really pristine, white, sterile environment. It's a lab where they're working on creatures and making them weapons and all that stuff.
Mike Futter's going to love that clean environment.
That's true.
What is it, Cerebus, that has like the white and orange and black?
Yeah, Cerberus.
It's very,
Yeah.
very much like that. So we'll have that. We'll have extensive hands-on with multiplayer, where we tested out a different demon token. There's been an alpha that's out there already, but we got to see a different demon in different maps and a different mode. And then Snap Map will do that. And then Wade put together some awesome videos with interviews with like Marty Stratton and the team.
That's what I'm really curious to just get a read on, like who these people are. I don't have a face for id these days, and it'd be nice, maybe through Wade's videos, to finally have a face to kind of attach to this game.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. I didn't think I could be more excited about it, but here I am.
Yeah, it's so cool. I can't wait. And again, it's like Wolfenstein, where it was like, I don't know about Wolfenstein coming back, and then you play, you're like, that game was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, the brief taste we had of Doom, the 2 levels and the different modes we played, I had that same kind of feeling.
Well, you talk about nothing on the market being quite like Doom, but I think something that comes close is Legends of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel for the PS3 and Vita that Kimberley Wallace
No
has been
one will
playing.
stop. Everyone's talking about it.
Oh my
I
God.
love it.
What
I
is
am
this
so happy
GD
in my
thing?
happy place. So I was actually surprised. This game, so it released on December 22nd. Talk about a time where people are pretty much done with the year for releases and not buying games.
I'm constantly hitting refresh on the PlayStation 3 store, actually, just in case something like this pops up.
Well, yeah, and I remember Joe, before we went, he's like, oh, you're going to check that out? And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in it. Is for those who knows, Legend of Heroes is an ongoing series. They just wrapped up Trails in the Sky, releasing the second part to that story. I actually found out today, and I didn't know this, that Legend of Heroes Cold Steel has 3 entries. So Xseed has already confirmed they're bringing the second one over, and there is a 3rd one that they're working on.
So
right
how many
now.
Legends of Heroes games
There
are
are
there?
a ton. This is a series that's by Falcom. Unfortunately, when it first came over to the U.S., which was Namco published it, I believe, then, and who they got to do the localization at the time, I think it was like Microvision. Anyways, they didn't do like a true localization to it, and
Classic
the localization
Microvision.
was not wasn't very good. It wasn't well done. So then Xseed.
Was that the biggest detraction? Like,
Yeah,
the biggest.
I mean, they were a little generic to begin with, but then like the localization messed it up. And Xseed took over with Trails in the Sky, which became like a fan favorite game. People really gravitated towards it because in part Xseed did a really knockout job with the localization. Like there are little jokes in there, just the humor clicks. Like the NPCs are they're not like a normal NPC.
Yeah.
Like they always say different things. You can kind of learn about each one, and there's just like so much to those worlds.
Xseed is good, like Retro Game
they're
Challenge and stuff.
Really,
like they
really
get it.
good. Yeah, they get it. So, but what happened with that was Trails in the Sky. So that was like a PSP game, and it like released towards the end of the PSP era. And unfortunately, there's a second part to the story, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger. So then Xseed like had to go through all this stuff to try. They couldn't get it. It was such a big game. They couldn't. You'd have to get it on like 2 UMDs, and then they were like, not. Who wants to do that at the end of the life cycle? Yeah, right.
Now that's a name I've not heard for a long time.
So it was insane. Just like then they wanted to do it for the fans so bad because nothing, people love the game. They wanted to find out what happened. Anyways, the one just released actually in November, I think, which was the wrap up of the second part of the story for that. So, and then Cold Steel just came out of nowhere
Right.
at the end of
It's like
December.
monthly.
So
and made
it's
your
insane.
whole holiday.
Yes, because let me put it to you this way. I hate to put it in these terms. So
You're gonna do it.
It's got like a school setup, like you are training. Think of it like at a school to be like this knight. Well, to be
Hogwarts.
to be like a war, like part of the, if a war happens, whatever, you're kind
West
of,
Point.
Yeah. You throw me off every
Kim,
time I go.
set it up the way you sold it to me.
Yeah, it's Persona meets Suikoden. Okay, so you have like the school and social aspects of a Persona game, but then you have like all the political drama that you get from Suikoden, which is really cool because, the school is split obviously into kids who are nobles and then some who are commoners. And obviously there's all that friction between like who's better and la 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 la. And then you get put in this like special class and you're trying to figure out why you're chosen. And each person in the class kind of has their own secrets that they're hiding. And
So
it's
it is
gonna
Harry
come
Potter.
together.
It's super
little-
duper Harry Potter, like maybe it's because I've been watching Harry Potter
Yeah.
recently, but it's like the whole mudblood thing of like, oh, look down on these commoners. I can't believe-
Mudblood?
Yeah,
That's a
there's
term in
people
Harry Potter?
with Muggle
Yeah.
parents. Yeah, it's a good word.
Wait, you haven't watched any
I
Harry
haven't watched
Potter or
any of
read?
it, but I don't want to distract.
I went into this game during break and wasn't expecting much, and I couldn't put it down the entire break. Like I'm not done. It's a long game. It can go anywhere from
JRPG?
like
That's a JRPG?
60 to 80 hours. So I've been trying. I'm playing it for review right now. So, but I've been going home and just playing it until my Vita dies every night, recharging it once, and then going again.
Which is
when I come
actually,
in.
Vita's, from my memory, still can hang on to life pretty well. So
Yeah, it does a pretty good job. So
It's clinging to life in some ways.
yeah.
Well.
It's barely clinging to life, but as far as battery
Well,
life, it does pretty well. I mean.
what's interesting is his games for also PS3. I'm obviously playing on Vita. All the rest of them that came out are the two other versions are for Vita and PS3. So I'm just
Also
curious
PC.
what, because now Xseed got in the PC game, which also opened things up for the Legend of Heroes series. So
watch out, baby.
I'll be interested to see what they do.
XC gonna give it to you.
Yeah, if it just goes goes to PC. But anyways, it is a great game. I like how it's split up. You'll do a little bit of dungeon crawling, then you'll be like, oh, it's time to interact. And the battle system is so freaking good for a turn-based battle system. I mean, I adore it. You have like these when you socialize with other students, you form like links and then you level up those links and then they help you in battles. Like yesterday, I was near death and like one came up and like healed me, no cost. Also on the side of, as you're playing the matches, there's also little bonuses that just randomly pop up. So maybe on a turn, you'll get like a healing bonus or get more CP, which allows you to like do your ultimate
so it
attack.
changes the way you're playing a battle.
It has the Final Fantasy X like attack order listed. And
so
with
you
those
look,
in
so
the
you can
slots,
see them
there's
come.
certain
It is
things,
just
yeah.
so. It's one of my favorite battle systems I've played in a while, especially for like a traditional.
How many characters are in your party?
Oh, you can
Or
have
at least
so it's like 4 on screen, but you
Okay.
can have 2 in support that you can swap in. So
like
if one
Final
of your
Fantasy X
guys
again.
is
Yeah.
dying,
Okay.
you can put one in. It's just so freaking.
Also,
good.
like Final Fantasy X, it's interesting because like I started this game last
Yeah.
night, by the way. But I started Trails in the Sky, and that was very much. It felt like Star Ocean or like a PlayStation 1 RPG, and this feels directly like a PlayStation 2 RPG.
Yeah.
It's just, but these games, I feel like they're coming out of Japan in this nebulous way, where it's like I don't know when this was actually developed. I don't know if this is a throwback or this was modern at the time. I don't know what the hell these
I
are,
think
but
this-
they're fun and they make
This
me
was
nostalgic.
2013 in Japan is when this came out.
I like
so
that-
It's
that
been
whole-
a little bit.
The whole thing where it's like, I don't know if this is a throwback or what, and
It was
it's just the
2013 or
Japan
14.
enigma, where it's just like, you look at something like Devil's Third, where it's just like, this could have, what's going on here? You know what I mean? But this is obviously no Devil's Third.
Yeah, the only
Devil's
thing that I don't-
Turd, has that joke been made?
Oh, I don't. That's new ground. Write that down. Write that down. Devil's Turd
a good
on that
joke.
piece of paper. Oh, Tim, don't lose the pen.
Oh, my gosh.
But what I don't like about the combat, it just it's very like a region focused, and it seems like the characters are always just like running around to random spots. It's one of those things where, like, God, I know it's a completely different game if you have direct control, but to have something region focused, but then are you able to be strategic with that? Because you
Yeah.
hit attack, and it's like, oh, then they'll kind of
No,
walk
I've
over
actually
here randomly.
I've done stuff where I use the move button just to space out my party members because sometimes like these enemies. Like the battles are actually really challenging too, which is for me like an RPG, someone who plays a lot of RPGs, I love it. You can't really screw up as you go through because you'll get killed. So you want to space out your party members so they're not all getting annihilated at the same time.
You can move them individually.
Yes,
on the
and I do it for the big bosses because it can be
big boss.
So basically, you can get by without having to worry about your spatial positioning in most like just kind of garbage battles, but it's where you have to really think about it is in boss battles.
Some of the random battles are tougher, but for the most part you can get by. But for the big boss battles, which are really intense, those you definitely want to pay attention to where you are. So
you know what I didn't appreciate about this game? By the way, I came away impressed. I played it for maybe an hour and a half last night. I was like, all right, I could see keeping with this. This is actually pretty solid. I didn't like it because it does that thing where it starts in the middle of the story. In media res, I believe it's called.
So the opening of the game, I just want to say this. I played the opening and I was just like, I just remember going to Joe. I'm like, I don't know about this one. And then I went to, after I did like the prologue, I went back to it. And that's when I got more into it. Like the opening prologue sucks, but once you get past that, it's just like, oh my God, I have all these social options and oh, now I get this. And like yesterday, all of a sudden I got a freaking horse and I'm like riding around through the field. It's just like, it keeps surprising me with I mean, stop.
Fantastic.
The one thing I'll point out, I just downloaded it today. And getting games like this was always difficult when it was only physical. Like it was like Joe Juba and you in like this insiders club knew when to pre-order it, and then you could only get it through pre-orders, and then that initial run was gone, and you have to buy them for like $150 online.
The Atlas Special Edition for $80 or whatever.
But I downloaded it and I was like, wow, that's the first time like these kind of little niche games, these JRPGs that, you know, I don't know how big the audience is.
Yeah, if they would sell out, you couldn't get them.
Yeah, but now anybody can get them. It's pretty cool.
It's nice thing about like, I mean, building off of that is like, you know, Valkyria Chronicles, where it's just kind of like, is there an audience for this? And just like, boop, download only on PC, and then people,
Boom.
Yeah, definitely.
But the thing that I didn't like is that like you start out and you have, you know, a lot of HP, a lot of attacks, and it just throws you in there blind, which is cool. And with all these characters, like I can't keep these people straight. And then it resets, and you start out like first day of school, and it's like great. Please slowly introduce me to these characters.
Yeah, and it does.
Does it? Because in the beginning, at least, it's like, hey, here's all these characters again. It's like the same dog pile of personalities.
It does a very good job of like easing you into it. Even now, I'm like, I think 25, 30 hours in at this point, and they keep introducing new mechanics into the battle system and making those links more important and kind of changing the way I play the game.
Bigger horses.
Yeah, we'll see. I just got the first horse yesterday. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool.
You're just talking about the localization. I think the voice acting has impressed me so far. Like the teacher lady, especially
the teacher. She's a big lush. She's just always drinking beer. It's just a little
in
like
class.
Yeah, she's like, she sends these students out on like the first challenge in a dungeon. Like, see if you make it out of here alive. See if you get back, I'll give you a little kiss.
Sounds like a horrible school.
Yeah.
She's all right. I'm already intrigued.
She's drinking on the job, but it's cool.
So she's inebriated and like wants to make out with her students as she sends them up to die. That's bizarre.
That's not what it was like in Falcon Heights, Minnesota?
Roseville. Well, I guess I went to school. Let me tell you a story. No, anyway.
One question for you. You brought up Suikoden, and you said all these characters. Are you collecting characters like that?
No,
or is it just a
you
smaller
have
cast?
like a smaller cast with classmates. Yeah, that's the only thing. But you get to pick like, you get advantages from socializing with them. And like I said, they start off pretty like, kind of like, oh yeah, this is probably just like going to be an average cast, but things do get better as it goes on and actually learn, because the political stuff gets really interesting as you go on and kind of throws some twists at you that you're not expecting. And
you break out of the high school.
But it's cool too, because as they split it up, like you're in school, but then you go on these field trips, and these field trips have you like killing monsters, doing like a quest or two. So it doesn't give you like opting side quests to do at a time, and there's some that are optional and then some that are required. But I mean, it's like just play as much as you want, but then like dial it back a little so you're not overwhelmed entirely.
Do you think that Square would make $1 million if they did like a high school who's who all-star of Final Fantasy characters, and just like, hey, it's all your favorite characters in high school?
Oh, with social links,
yes,
like
with
Persona.
all that stuff. If they're just sort of like, hey man, what Sephiroth's kind of the emo bully guy or something. I don't know, but I think they could get away with it.
They could
just take like the gardens from 8, except put all the Final Fantasy characters within that
exactly.
setting.
I would buy
Who would
it.
Sephiroth be?
I think that he would be
the quarterback.
He'd be kind of like kids under the stairs hanging out, kind of like.
You think so?
I don't think he'd be a quarterback.
He's like the star of Soldier. Like I think he would be. He'd be like the quarterback, but he's also a loner at the same time.
Yeah, he's the quarterback that like got kicked off the team or something. He's got a chip on his shoulder, you know. And Cloud would be like trying to be like Zach and following in his footsteps. And Squall would be Squall and Sephiroth. I think they'd hang out and be friends at first, and then Sephiroth would be like, "No, you're holding me back, kid."
Queen Aquila would be locked in a basement. She's a freak of nature.
She's the cook.
Oh, that's right. Obviously. Yeah, it makes total sense.
Game develops itself. Anyway, basically, only reason I brought that up is because like that high school trope for like JRPGs and animes and stuff, like it is done into the dirt, but when it's still done well, it's like irresistible. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, it's irresistible. Also, +1 for who I think is Cam Clark in the game, the Liquid Snake voice actor. I think he's like the military leader in the beginning.
Is he doing a British thing?
He's just Liquid Snake again. No, it's like kind of Leonardo-y Cam Clark. By the way,
DiCaprio-y?
that's exactly right.
That's what he's going for.
Tim, what did you play over the big old break?
You know, I actually read a lot more than I expected. I read a bunch of I've been reading Star Wars books, and Reiner and I pretty much throughout all break just texted about Star Wars theories.
That's all we've done since break.
That's correct.
Since Force Awakens launched, every day we talk to each other about Star Wars.
It's pretty much.
And then we get back in the office and people are still they will not stop talking about that movie.
I think it's with a renewed vigor because you're pretty sure everyone's seen it at that point. But so that's what I've been up to. I also started Earthbound.
Well, you also
which I
played
talked about I think a little bit.
I think a little bit, but you also played Disney Infinity Force Awakens.
Oh my God, yeah.
I went over to your place and we played that co-op.
Which actually, yeah, we sat down with the purest of intentions, and I think it got to us at some point. Like basically, the Force Awakens playset is hot garbage. It is really bad. It's also my first experience with Disney Infinity, so I guess I previewed it once a long time ago and did some kind of banal quests as Woody or something. I know it's not geared. It's not I'm not the target market, but I assume that it was trying to win me over enough that I'd want to bring nieces and nephews over and play with them and check it out. But I think Ben, we just wanted to experience the story through one of the only other ways you can do it.
I'm fascinated with how you would possibly adapt that story into a video game,
which is poorly, and we can't go into it too deeply without giving away Star Wars stuff. Don't want to do that,
right?
But what I think we can say is that at one point we watched the movie again, and
I think it's fair to say there's a character named Maz Kanata. Her planet, that's not a spoiler.
Yeah. The name of the planet is Takodana.
Yeah,
and. There's an establishing shot and it shows some water or something, and in the game you do this whole peripheral thing because it's they have to pad it out. It's a licensed game.
It's a hub area.
I shouldn't say that. It's a movie-based game. They padded something out, and they're kind of flying on these kind of land speeders, and you go out and you try to raise these half pipes out in this lake, and you're doing tricks and try to set up satellites and stuff. And it's all the most.
It's my favorite part of the movie.
Just super, super boring stuff. But that's the thing is they showed that establishing shot of Takodana. I spent more time there than I ever expected to. And when I saw the establishing shot, I shuddered a little bit.
You have a Pavlovian response of trying to navigate those waterways.
That was at the height of my frustration with that game. That we were just it was getting late. We were determined to get through it. I think that the frustration with that game actually bled through into we were trying to reserve tickets, and that was getting kind of tense as we were trying to play games. We were reserving tickets for
we don't need to go into
our next showtime for Star Wars, and it's just it was bad time.
We're trying to have a Star Wars celebration, and it was a disaster.
I was so ready.
It was not a very holiday special
But
moment.
Ben, you usually play the Disney Infinity games, right?
I've played a little bit of every one. Yeah, the original trilogy playset I started, then got halfway through the Tatooine hub, and I was I think I'm done here. So I never blasted through all that stuff. But it's a similar structure to that original trilogy playset.
I think it was Jeff Cork that played through it and said the way they tell the story is a 5-year-old kid telling you what happened in the movie.
I understand they have to abbreviate
except
things,
forgetting entire characters.
Yeah, just this and then this and then
they leave out some big things where it's it makes no sense. It's what is happening
or
in this storyline.
Yeah, glaze over very important things. But
they're in such a tough spot too because they're all toys. It's a wacky toy world, but it's not jokey. They play it straight. The open world, the hub, it's not open world, but the hub areas, I guess, it's joking that you can pick up a Jawa and kick it around if you want to do stuff like that.
Reiner and I had some fun with we checked it out very, very early, and it takes a while before it kind of starts to get boring. But compared to the original trilogy, what was it rougher around the edges or?
Yeah, like I said, I just basically imagine if you stopped halfway through the Jakku stuff in the Force Awakens playset. That's about as far as I got. So it's tough to tell exactly for how the story was constructed in the original trilogy playset. But
anyway, I think the thing is important to talk about it for is unless you're all in on Disney Infinity, and you're collecting the toys, and like you already know what that game has to offer. Like if The Force Awakens has been enough to kind of make you curious about it, I feel like I would be comfortable warning someone away from this.
Right.
Yeah. I don't.
With like a stick that's on fire, and just kind of waving it around like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I think I get it.
That's
But
pretty
sorry,
much
you're
that.
saying you're also playing Earthbound.
Yeah, I started that because I was in the mood for something a little bit more palate cleansing, like something comfortable and fun and just, I don't know, old school. I feel like this last year I let retro gaming get away from me in a way that I don't usually, and I like to fill in those gaps, and Undertale kind of inspired me to do it, and that was obviously the best game to play if you like Undertale and want to know a little bit more where that came from and you haven't played Earthbound. But the sense of humor, the like the Mr. Saturn village, like that whole thing, just the battle system and like the jokes that are like weaved into the battle system, and then like the smart things that game does. I don't know if they already talk about like the smart things that game does, where it's like, you can carry around a for sale sign and you put it in the ground, and then someone will just come up and sell your garbage or buy your garbage from you, where no matter where you are in the world, which is awesome.
Earthbound's just so amazing.
Yeah, or when you're high enough level, it's kind of like Chrono Trigger, where the enemies appear in the world. You just walk up to someone, and it's just kind of like it does like the and it's you did it. You don't go into the battle and go through this trash mob or whatever. Stuff like that's just incredible to me. I really like the characters, and I'm not super far in. I'm in Threep, and I realized too late that like it's Onett, Tucson, and Threep is the third like town you're in. And the music's great.
And Moltres.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was that some Battlefront.
Oh yeah, we did play some Battlefront.
Yeah.
It was a very Star Wars heavy break. Also, I started KOTOR 2.
Oh, wow.
Sticking with that vein, because there's a very nice update that they did on Steam for it, where now they added full controller support, which is really great. Widescreen, like they made it look as good as it can look. It's a pretty old game at this point, but it was just fun seeing that game and how within that world they treat the events of KOTOR 1 as kind of like this legend. And it's almost like a direct analogy to Force Awakens, how they talk about the original trilogy, like, oh, we heard rumors of this thing happening.
Or how
and
the original
whatnot.
trilogy talks about Clone Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just fun seeing those parallels, but I only got a couple hours into it. It's fun, though, just seeing like them talk about Darth Revan, where it's like, oh, she was very powerful, and then she just vanished. And it's like the dialogue's like, I think I heard Darth Revan was a man. Like, you can try and correct him with the lore
that's
of that.
interesting.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
Should I squeeze in an email that's relevant to this?
Well, hot squeeze, yeah.
do it.
Okay. Logan from Richvale, California, who I think is a consistent writer inner. So thanks, Logan. Hello, GI. I have noticed a bit of unreasonable negativity towards Force Awakens on the internet. While I know the internet is often both negative and unreasonable, I want to know why. I've watched Force Awakens multiple times and it only gets better every time I see it. I feel like people who are being negative went into the movie looking for things to be negative about. And it's disappointing that some people are not able to enjoy it because of that. And that's Logan. The reason I wanted to bring it up is just because, like, we did our predictions podcast, and then we did our immediate reactions, and I thought that email was like a good opportunity for us to like quickly, since we're on the topic, just quickly say like, what do you think gives? Do you think that it's all merited, or do you think that it's over the top, or reflecting like
feedback? I guess I haven't seen too much of that negativity out there.
I think the big negativity I see is it's just a remake of A New Hope. I think that is complete garbage.
Well,
I mean,
you understand where they're coming from.
There are parallels, but there's also all these new stories about these new characters, and that's kind of where the central focus is. And there are similarities for sure. Yeah,
I think one thing I wanted to say too is just that, like, I think that when there's something that you're so surprised that you love, it's easy to focus in when people want to say critical things about it. And I've been in that camp too with like the reaction to this, but looking over like the broad view of it, I think it's generally all pretty positive. People are like zooming in on super specific things about it. And half the times it's just because like it's a curious little thing or something like that, or a little mystery. But I think generally it's pretty positive. So I would just say like, I think I feel good vibes overall. It's fun to be a Star Wars fan right now.
For sure.
And that is the general vibe I get. So don't let the negativity bring you down, I guess.
yeah.
Hey,
It's
man,
not
thanks,
a perfect movie, but holy hell, we're having a lot of fun talking about it
sure.
and speculating what could come next. And,
No one
we're
else,
in.
like, I don't know. I haven't been yelled at for talking about it too much, save for my girlfriend who actually really likes Star Wars now. She wasn't into it, but I feel like everyone's like, no one's saying like, shut up about the Star Wars already. We came back from break and we're like, we're probably done talking about it, right? But then we were all excited to talk about it.
Yeah, but Tim, you should shut up about Star Wars right now. because over break, I finally got a chance to play a boatload more of Amplitude, which we touched on a little bit because I just played some multiplayer with Miller before, but I went hot and heavy with that game over the break, and I absolutely loved it. It is, I think it's the best playing version of that, like frequency and amplitude for the PS2.
Trigger and all?
Yeah, even though I was so worried about that PS4 controller, but you get used to it surprisingly quickly. And the fact that like you're jumping and assembling a song basically and jumping between all the tracks and trying to hit the notes. And the fact that you don't have to like tap over the exact amount that you want to, it'll just automatically jump basically to the next track that you can play. There's fewer gaps in there. Like I think it plays so well.
So this is worth checking out if with anyone who had passing interest in Amplitude, or is it just for anyone that loves like music rhythm games?
I think anyone that loves music rhythm games. Like the thing that drives me nuts is I love frequency and amplitude so much, and I feel like so many people jumped on board with Guitar Hero, the first Guitar Hero, and just love that grind of growing your skill. Tim, I feel like you're in this camp, and like Bark at the Moon just being the biggest pain in the ass and just grinding it out until eventually you're through.
I loved the song Bark at the Moon.
Well, there we go. But that was always like the big hurdle in the first Guitar Hero for me.
Sure.
And so people that are nostalgic over like learning a skill in a music rhythm game and having to grind through songs every once in a while, like this is just a better, more strategic, I think a hell of a lot more fun version of that. And I hope more people check it out for that.
I'm sure I will. I feel like it'd be a good game to have on your PS4 and just
it's
see that
$20,
it's just in the way that you like see like Destiny or Diablo kind of floating there. Like, maybe I should hop in there again.
Especially with like something I didn't even think about before release, but just having the high scores listed there, like the score chasing aspect, like even pre-release, it already got really fun, like going through, and I was just hell-bent on taking out everybody on my friends list. And now that it's wide, it's just going to be, all right, everybody who owns this game, I need to be number one because I love this game so much.
And full disclosure, you've talked about amplitude and frequency more than any other human being I think any of us have ever met.
Right. They really are some of my favorite games. Also, full disclosure, I backed this Kickstarter because I love these games.
That's
also,
it. Burn it down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But also, Annette Gonzalez used to work here. Great employee of Game Informer. She also worked on the game. So just full disclosure.
Yeah.
Pull off your mask, Alex.
Mr. Regardless. I would have gotten away with it too. Anyways, like people criticize the songs in that game, and I think there's just as many hit and misses in that track as especially the Amplitude soundtrack.
I mean, it's the same problem that Harmonix has with any sort of general music game, right? Which is just like can't appeal to everybody.
Right.
Like it's just such a subjective thing.
Also, it does contain a fantastic song that it's a real thrill to grind through and play again and again and again. And I think if I had to guess, it would go a little something like this.
We kill hell.
Really?
Oh yes.
Really?
Tim. Oh yes.
Really? The Insomniac tribute song
20th anniversary
with Ted Price's singing.
The blood, the sweat,
The tears.
We're making your game. We're making your game. Diet Coke and beer. You should probably watch this video if you haven't seen it. It's such a goofy, weird, silly, kind of very endearing thing that Insomniac did, which was just like create a music video tribute to their past with like original music and lyrics. Bizarre.
And it's one of those songs that's like, oh, this is funny but kind of dumb. And then the more you hear it, it's like, is this song secretly brilliant? Because it is so catchy.
Super catchy.
Yeah.
Chasing the high score in this game and having to hear it over and over and over
Is that
again.
why you've been? That's why you've been playing.
Yes,
it.
that's why I've been suddenly
Like,
blasting
we've
it
been
into
every
headphones.
time we were getting ready for like an episode of Replay or something like that. Hanson's just been like just slowly he'll just bleed this into our headphones, and it's just gotten to a point where we
We're
expect
just
it.
nodding along.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not stop. The other game that I didn't expect to fall in love with over the break, and it's a weird one for the winter break of 2015, but Minecraft on PS4. Like
I saw
always
you playing that.
Oh my God, it has consumed my life and my friends'
What are you doing
life.
in it now? Are you doing mods, or are you just going through the core game?
I mean,
digging and
the
building?
core game. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a similar effect to the Destiny thing where like once my friends got into it, and there's a small group of my friends that are super into Minecraft, we all get into it at the same time again. And I haven't really dove into that game since the official release. Like last time I really played it, there were no villages, there was no health or like a hunger system, anything like that. And so it's so much fun to see now the finished version years and years later.
Sure.
But good Lord, it is addicting as hell. And I know it's dumb and super late to the party, but like if you've never given Minecraft a chance and like you have old friends that have like an Xbox One or a PS4 now, and you guys like Legos, used to play Legos together, just dive in, man. It's amazing.
I mean, you're basically doing the thing that some YouTubers make a living on for fun, which is let's goof around with our friends in Minecraft and make little games and little characters that we. It's just make believe with your friends in Minecraft land.
Totally,
and that's fun. That's great.
But my friends, I have some friends that are playing it right now, and they do this mod that is like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I know about that one.
Where it's like, it's basically like people are getting offed as this game's going along, and then you have to be the last man standing kind of thing. And it's like, I hear Hunger Games in Minecraft. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this. And I was like, well, how long does like a match take? And they're like, I don't know, maybe like 48 hours. And I was like, what are you even talking about?
Log off or
4
hide?
to 8 hours. So,
Oh, I thought you said 48
Oh,
hours.
yeah.
Definitely
I said it very fast. But
wait a minute, but this is only a PC thing then, right?
yeah.
So it is
Okay.
very much a trial of endurance.
Yeah,
That
but I was
sounds
just
awesome,
like,
though.
yeah, they say it's like the best thing, like the best multiplayer they played in years. And I'm just like, whoa,
I need
don't
to
know.
install it on PC
There
again.
you
so I
go.
can play
You think
that
if
version
people
of it.
like just go ape after they lose like a hour-long Dota match, I can only imagine what the investment
These
would be like.
crazy Hunger Games where
Yeah.
you're building stuff and trying to survive. and
Just
food
imagine the
and-
Hunger Games if you could just dig a mile underground and hide in a little cave, hoping nobody drops TNT
How
down
do-
there.
Is it that like you get hungry and have to go back up for food, and that's what drives
I don't know
everyone
the
out of their
specifics.
holes? Because that would be like the timer. You know,
I
that they'd be able to
really
do
wanna
the
see
Hunger
this.
Games thing where they drop supplies. Everyone's got to like figure out that hunger meter would, I feel like, be the thing that makes it.
Yeah,
that
for
and
sure.
there's combat. I guess they said it's a lot like circle strafing, like from the classic Doom. Like
I
when you're
mean,
fighting, and it's just I don't know.
I think
don't know.
I think when I think of combat in Minecraft, I think of like slappers only in GoldenEye.
Right.
Just like I'm going to try to hit you before you hit me, and then we back off a little bit.
The peak of combat in games. But
what
you talk
everyone
about like
says.
talk about goofing around with friends. This is a nerdy deep cut, but like my up until like age 11 maybe, it was like almost every day playing Legos with my friends, and it wasn't just like building crap, but like doing dumb role playing things, like, oh, we'll make a whole town, and then I control this character and just like really in a nerdy way role playing Legos, and like to have those skills built up for a decade, and then like, oh, here's this game where it brings back just that entire wave of enthusiasm and nostalgia over some dorky, jokey role playing. It is the most fun thing.
I believe it.
Yeah, I bet it's fun.
Hey, everybody, Minecraft, check it out. Worth a second look.
Hot tip.
Yeah, but it's just a beta. You think it's going to catch on?
No, it's not going anywhere. Ark Survival Evolved, however,
Calls himself Notch. I don't even know his name.
Yeah. Also had a weird game out of the blue over the break that I ended up really enjoying, where it was for Christmas. I wanted to get my dad a train set, because he used to have this train set from like 1952, this Lionel train, and it was awesome and metal and heavy
The
duty.
big black one, the
Yeah.
thicker tracks.
Yeah, like, and it was sweet because electricity was like going through these metal tracks, and like you could put a coin on it and it would like spark and jump.
You don't do that.
You don't do it.
That's
but
how
I-
you make fires.
Well, that's exactly. I did it a lot, and like I would tie like Princess Leia onto the tracks and have the train hit her
You
and stuff
monster.
when I was a kid. So eventually, I thought I broke this train. So I spent a lot of money and bought him a new train set. And it was really interesting seeing like how the trains were built 60 years ago for toys compared to now. And now it's like, even if you spend money, it's still going to feel flimsy and plasticky. Anyway, so I got him that train. Also, it was the same year that he revived the old train set, and it wasn't dead after all. So like, oh, perfect timing, great. But more importantly, in the like booklet or in the actual box for this new train set, they were advertising this iPad game called Lionel Battle Trains. And I looked at this the entire Christmas morning as we're unwrapping gifts, like, that actually looks kind of cool. I like the idea of battle trains. So I got it on iPad. Turns out it's super good. And it's really fun to like build up a train and add more cars and swap out different like guns and placements like on the actual train itself. And then it just feels like a Plants vs. Zombies style game. It's completely free. So if you have an iPad, seriously check out Battle Trains. It's from like apparently the same studio that made... God, I wrote it down here. What is that? It's the VR game I Expect You to Die that we had here. Apparently it's that team. Also like
Interesting.
Orion Trail. They made like an Oregon Trail spinoff. But
Jesse Shell.
that's exactly it. How do you know this, Kim?
I know things.
How do you know this?
I really like. He's done a bunch of GDC talks, and he also, when I saw that he was doing "I Expect You to Die," I actually looked back at some of his other games they were working on.
I would like to talk to him. He's an interesting guy. Like
Yeah,
he left
he's really,
Disney and
really
founded this
interesting.
studio in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh and stuff. We should
You're
try
going to
get him on the
harass him
show.
about this train game, aren't you?
It's good. It's super
Well, I was
good.
gonna say only you would find this. and,
That's
like-
correct.
You want to know something crazy? You kind of blew my mind when you said you got your dad a train for Christmas. I did too.
What?
Yeah, I got my dad but it's HO scale, so it's like the smaller
Oh, okay.
smaller one, but he and I used to grow up making
Together.
trains.
Okay.
But so I got him one. He's a big Chicago Cubs fan, so am I. So every year I buy him a new car for this Chicago Cubs line
That's cool.
from the Bradford Exchange. So I got him another one, and he was just blown away. He's like, "How many of these are there going to be?" It's like
Eventually
the fourth year in a row.
You're gonna have like the full track, just cars, and then just a
Right,
continuous
yeah.
loop
Riding back and
for us
forth
going
from
around.
Minnesota to Chicago.
Beautiful. Anything else you guys want to touch on that we played over the break? Any mop up here?
I don't know.
You don't want to go down the hole I went into.
What hole did you go down, Reiner?
Playing not old adventure games, new old school adventure games.
Like point and click inspired.
Like there is a whole huge market of like Sierra kind of inspired games
King's Quest and
in that vein.
Okay.
Police Quest, all
But
that stuff.
more hardcore. It's not like the Broken Age level of modernization.
Oh yeah, like these are remaining true to what they were. I would say the only things that they changed is there isn't like a lot of fail states,
okay.
and then there's like a hint button.
Okay.
So back in the day, if you played these games, it was like, I have no idea what to do. I'm going to talk to the kids at school. There's no internet to go on to find out what's
Right.
going on. You would get stumped on one puzzle for weeks. But now you could just hit the hint button and be like, oh, I should go look in the fish
The kind of
bowl.
puzzles where you'd stop playing for a week
Yeah.
and it'd be all you'd think about. And
Yeah,
you'd be like,
you're
wait,
like-
what if it's that? And then you go back and try it and you're like, oh God, yes.
But it was one of the top 10s on our site from Stephanie Palermo from Capcom. She listed Goosebumps, the video game.
Which was made by Way Forward, and I feel like they announced it like a day before it came out, and it just completely went under the radar.
Yeah, it came out around the same time as the movie that kind of flopped, right?
I think it did okay, didn't it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I heard it was coming out and then it was gone.
Okay.
But she was kind of raving about it, and everything she was saying, like, it's old school in design, it's fun, it's one of those games you play with friends. And I was like, this just sounds delightful. So I played through that basically like in a sitting and was like, I want more of this.
Wait, what was the best Goosebumps fan service within that, though?
All of it. The whole thing is the whole game.
Can you give me like an
Night
example?
of the
Like
Living Dummy.
basically, I'm super excited.
be.
There's-
Like if it's King's
there's a
Quest meets
blob.
Goosebumps, like is there a good puzzle setup you can give us or something? Or like
It's all really obscure, weird stuff, like using. Oh, the building just shook. Using just strange items in weird ways to solve puzzle. I don't want to give away too much because if I tell you one, it's like.
But it's
a huge
interweaving
solution.
all of the Goosebumps storylines, kind of like the movie does.
Yes.
Okay.
So you got the
Monster Blood?
mannequin. You got stuff like that. You got ghost kids.
Beast
you
from the
got-
East?
I don't know. You're
okay.
more in tune with
Who's the Beast
R.L.
from the East?
Stein
Is
than
that-
I am.
like
There's the one about, it's a story about twins, and there's this big purple ape thing.
I wrote R.L. Stein a letter in 5th grade, and he wrote me back. I
No
just want to say
Whoa,
that.
way.
Yeah.
Stop writing me, you little weirdo.
That's all I'm going to say.
that's
What
awesome.
did he say?
I don't even remember.
Sup?
It was so long ago. I got like a little autographed picture, and like I got to read it in front of my class. Judy Bloom also wrote me back. It
That's
was like this
awesome.
thing our teacher had us do, just like write letters to authors that you like. So
That's
and then you'd
cool.
read it in front of the class if you got a response.
Did you guys also, were you also obsessed with Wheel of Fortune and how the letters they give away in Wheel of Fortune basically spell out R.L. Stein? Because I was a huge Goosebumps fan as a
Oh,
kid.
I remember seeing that. Yeah,
it will
yeah.
freak you out because
Yeah,
the automatic letters they give
Yep.
you, it's super close to R.L. Stein.
Yep, I
every
remember
time.
thinking that too. Okay.
Van White's a
Wow.
huge Goosebumps fan.
Yep.
Is the point?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Fear Street. I really got into Fear Street, but like I started with Goosebumps.
Was Fear Street the Choose Your Own Adventure one?
No, Fear
Okay.
Street was like the older kid one, longer books.
Maybe two people will kiss.
Yeah.
Okay,
kind of.
got it.
Anyways, then Goosebumps went
So
away.
that gave way. So I was like, wow, this is such a weird throwback. Like it is classic, like you wouldn't believe.
and fun?
Yeah, I had a blast. I love those games growing up, so being able to play one like that again was super cool. But then it gave way to Nightmares from the Deep, The Cursed Heart, which was I was just surfing Xbox One's marketplace, and there's a ton of adventure games on there. Like seriously, they're just everywhere on there. But it had 4 out of 5 stars from like 4,000 reviews, and I was like, $10, I'll do that. So I jumped into that, and at that point, I was having a blast with that, and I started feeling like I was like frozen on ice, for like a decade and a half. Like I just for whatever reason, I had no knowledge of these games. You don't see them at E3. You don't
like-
see them at any trade shows. You don't even hear them talked about like in indie circles. It's just this weird
We're
little...
cutting it from the podcast.
Is it like the Mega Man 9 effect, kind of? Like, where it's just sort of like, this is exactly where they left off, but it's a new one.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
it's like a whole new... But it's like more than that because it's a whole market.
Right.
But the funny thing about this game is it's beautifully done. The interface is great. It's a gorgeous game to look at. But one of the central mechanics is, you know, those picture jumbles where it's just a bunch of stuff and you got to find the periscope.
Yeah.
So they have that. But if you don't like doing that, if you're like, either I can't find something or I just hate this, you could just play Mahjong. And so it's just like hit the button to play Mahjong. And then it brings up the tiles, and you match up the tiles, and then the reward you would get from finding those pictures, which is an item you use in the world, they just give you for finishing Mahjong.
That is bizarre.
You also said you were checking out Book of Unwritten Tales too, right?
I haven't played that one yet.
Okay.
I'm right now playing Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. And that is very much in vein of more like Indiana Jones and the, what was it?
Fate of
Atlantis. Where you're playing as a detective and you're trying to figure out a murder.
Cool.
It's very obscure puzzles and
Tim's making a face like you just had the fart of the millennia.
No, I'm excited about that. I love Fate of Atlantis.
Oh, that's your excitement face?
I guess.
Okay. Never mind.
fart of the millennia face.
It's kinda- it's
is
little-
your excitement face.
I don't know. I don't know what he was
What
reading
does your
into.
fart of the millennia face
I
look like?
can't,
Is that excitement then?
It would be...
YouTube, everybody. Hi,
It'd just be
YouTube.
like that. Yeah, that's just for YouTubes.
Is this just a Christmas break thing though? Like this is all
I don't
over?
know, man. Like I feel like I just need to see where this is going. Like I seriously feel like I stumbled upon like some weird Yeti out in the wilderness, and I gotta like navigate it, like figure out where it's going, figure out everything about it,
Some
and report it
abominable
to the
snowman
people.
from Pasadena.
It's like you were just stumbling along, and then you stumbled upon a vein of gold.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, actually, not just gold, some element that doesn't even exist anymore. And you're just like, I gotta know how much.
right.
is
It's a little
left.
bit like Redstone.
It could be gold or it could be fool's
That's
gold.
right. That's pretty good.
So yeah, Book of Unwritten Tales 2 is
awesome.
next.
That's
Like,
exciting. You have me intrigued.
Yeah, I hear really good things about that last one. I'm really curious to see what you think of it.
I've been enjoying all these though for just different reasons. Nightmares from the Deep, The Cursed Heart is a little weird, but I kind of liked it for that reason. But Goosebumps, if you want a good puzzle game to play with friends, that's a good one. And then if you like those old school millennial fart
really
style
do.
adventure games like Broken Sword, that one's kind of fun too.
Millennial farts just think everything's gonna get handed to them.
But we should move on to emails. What do you say, Tim?
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We have a bunch of emails that people have sent in. There's a ton built up over break, so we took some time to rifle through those and find the best of them. If you have an email or a question or something you want to send us, it is podcast@gameinformer.com. We say the same thing every week, and we want your emails. We want to talk to you guys.
Also, I mean, if it's beyond just a question or something like that, if there's some news story,
Right.
you'd like us to go more in depth on
Even if we
something-
don't touch on it,
yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Just like, I want to hear you guys talk about X, Y, or Z. You know, we didn't touch on the Oculus Rift, price announcement.
Those prices are too damn high,
Yeah,
as a wise
it's-
man once
There
said.
you go.
$5.99. Yeah, that's the thing you want to hear more about next week, even though we didn't specifically spend time on it this week,
I don't have $600 laying around.
That's right. Maybe send us $600 via email.
How much do you
Thank
keep under your
you.
mattress, Kim?
All right. So the first question here comes from Hayden. Dear Game Informer Cast, the past year had the opportunity to finally play the first Mass Effect. It was the first time with my franchise, and I was aware that the series had a major jump shooting quality between 1 and 2, but only after playing did I discover the uncanny valley Mass Effect 1 rests in, trying to be cover-based shooter when most developers still hadn't figured out those mechanics yet, which leads to my question. What games past the first 3D console generation have you gone back to with fond memories, only to realize they haven't aged so well? Age as well as you expected, Hayden. I think that what I'm most interested in, I'm kind of like reshaping that question, which is like, we talk about the PlayStation 1 and 64 generation not aging that well, but taking like one step forward to like GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, like fewer people talk about that generation and how it's aged. I'm curious if you guys have examples of stuff from that era that you've gone back to recently.
Yeah, I think for me, this is gonna make me sound like a big nerd, but I'm used to that. I feel like a lot of the PS2 games do pretty much hold up with RPGs, respectively. I mean, some stuff with like grinding and the stuff that you had to go through to finish those games have been, not as bad. But for me, a good example of that. So the frickin' first .hack games on the PS2 are awful to go back to. But the GU games that came later are awesome.
Yeah, the goos.
How many .hack games came out on PS2?
So
3, right?
No, 4 in the original, and then they had 3 GU games, and the GU games were awesome. By the way,
Did they ever make a .hack game that was actually an MMO? Because the whole premise of that was like an MMO virtual world.
I guess, yeah.
But did they ever make a multiplayer version of that?
It, right? Like you'd go in like a simulated MMO and whatever. But like I try to go back and play those. Even when we were still in the PS2 era, and they came out earlier, and I did not find them to age well at all. Like I found them very hard to kind of like. It doesn't really give you much direction, and just like the combat's kind of aged poorly. I guess that's probably not the answer you're expecting from me, but
I mean, that's good.
That's one that I remember just not doing that great.
Going all the way back to PS1 would be Tomb Raider. Don't need to go in depth on that. We all know why. And then PS2 would be most first-person shooters, I would say, on PS2 and Xbox, just in terms of flow within the campaign and just multiplayer design.
It's so weird.
And matchmaking and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's tough after you get used to aiming down sights and looking at a character who it doesn't get like turned into a blurry mess of textures when they're far away. Like we went back and played GoldenEye Rogue Agent on PlayStation 2 for a replay not that long ago, and that reminded me of games I liked, like Agent Under Fire. We talked about that a little bit. Anything like that, I think, would be hard to go back to and appreciate the same way that you'd appreciate a game now.
Yeah, like they're still good games, but they clearly show how far we've come, right?
And it's just little things. Like I actually just went back and played Halo 1 over the break multiplayer, and just like it's so weird to go from just a stupid amount of Destiny back to Halo 1, just being like, I need to look down my sights. I feel blind without it, or like not having a double jump. What the hell is happening in this game anymore?
Right.
But then there's no fall damage, so
that's true. There's a trade-off. So. All right, this next one is a little bit of a detour. This one is from Justin S. from Fisk, M.O. Is that Missouri? Is that
Fisk? Wilson Fisk?
No, Mo is a state.
Mo is a state?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Fisk is the capital of Mo.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, Mo is the name of the state?
Yes, Tim. How many times we got to go over this?
Okay. Well, all right. It is Missouri, though?
Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay, good. There's a couple of those I always hesitate on, like now. Love the show.
Or is it Montana?
That's MT.
That's right. One or the other. You can never play video games again. You can only enjoy them by watching someone who's bad at them play them in front of you.
Oh, God.
Or you can play video games but only shovelware. Discuss. From Justin.
It's a pretty gray line for what's shovelware.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it's anything that's like, you think about like Steam trash, like Steam copycat trash, or Wii shovelware, stuff like that.
I'd go the first.
You just want to watch good games be played poorly?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'd just walk. I want to say shovelware just so I could at least play something. But then it's just like, because I can't imagine walking away entirely. But then part of me is like, I cannot sit there and watch somebody who is horrible at a game just play.
And eventually you would forget what good games were like to play. And so it'd be like when you were a kid and you were just held hostage by the games that you had.
Or literally,
That's true. I didn't mean to bring that up, Ben. But just eventually you'd learn to love something again, even if it's like some crappy knockoff.
Right. Toy Story Mania on the Wii.
That's shovelware?
It's the first one that came to mind.
Oh, God. That's that like carnival game.
Yeah. I think we played it during Extra Life, actually.
Oof.
Oh, I think I remember seeing a little bit of that. I think I remember seeing the three-eyed aliens on there. All right. Trevor from New Orleans writes in, hey, guys, I love each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We love
Trevor.
you.
Wow.
Some more than others. Hey.
What?
Anyway, you all, I'm right behind you. Anyway, you all have already, he didn't write that. Anyway, you all have already discussed what your favorite gaming experiences of the year so far are. Let's take a turn down negativity lane and discuss your least favorite gaming experiences have been. I think he is talking about 2015. And if he isn't, let's focus in on 2015. It's more specific. This could range from being disappointed by a game that you thought would have been better or a game that was just plain bad. Replay doesn't count. Okay, that's a good.
What? Why doesn't
decision.
replay count?
Keep up the great work. I've told many friends about the podcast just for you, Hanson. Thanks, Trevor.
Oh my God,
Thanks, Trevor.
Trevor, you're the best.
So let's talk about 2015 a little bit.
Oh man,
You know
what the name Trevor is backwards, by the way. Rover T. He should use it as a nickname because it's a really good Trevor nickname. Anyways, most disappointing games from last
What?
year.
Seriously, what?
Yeah, no, the first game that jumped to mind was Rock Band 4 for the track list, and what a pain in the ass it was to download all those tracks. Like I was really looking forward to like, oh, Rock Band back in swing, and it was like 3 hours.
You get that high of DLC support. You're just yes, they're doing it.
Yeah,
And then you realize the reality of it.
it's just a pain in the ass. Grim Fandango might be up there just for how much of a pain in the ass it was to play through that remastered version, where it's just the highest highs. Parts of that game are still like, this is the best game ever made, and then other parts are, there is no conceivable way they released a game like this. This is the dumbest puzzle I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then maybe, Reiner, I know you liked it. I was flabbergasted by Lego Dimensions and how difficult it was, and just not like some complex
Difficult?
puzzles, but just
What, the
every step
building?
every step of the way. It was, I have no idea what this game wants me to do, and I want to pull my hair out because I just want to hear the funny dialogue.
I don't know. I haven't touched it
I
yet.
don't know what to say to that.
I want
dude.
you. I
haven't played
really
it.
want you to play Lego Dimensions, Tim. Just
I'm
I want
curious
to
about
prove
it.
that I'm not insane.
I'll grab all those Lego kits and I'll bring them home.
Great.
Uh,
What about you guys?
I'm just flabbergasted by that. So 2015,
Yeah.
what am I disappointed by?
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh,
What?
It's true. All of it.
It's
No.
true.
Skylanders, I'm going to stay on the kind of the
Toys to Life.
family games. Yeah, Toys to Life. Skylanders Superchargers was disappointing. All the vehicle stuff sucked.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I think one for me was just a lack of good split screen playing, like games to play. Like,
Interesting.
you know, I think specifically Halo. Like Halo 5 moved away from split screen, and that series campaign is built on split screen. That is, I think, one of the things that helped put Halo on the map. Like whether it was multiplayer, but specifically also like the campaign. That was like at the time the absolute, without a doubt, best campaign FPS you could play with a friend. It was like one of the only ones too. And I feel like I played that with friends on the everyone. I played on the couch with a friend, and they took that away this time because they said that they wanted, 343 says they wanted to increase the frame rate. They wanted it to be like a smooth 60 frames per second. And sure, maybe the frame rate held, but at what expense? Because then you're looking at enemies in the distance and the frames on those enemies dropped. And that's not something I noticed in any Halo game.
Right.
And so it's like, what are we even doing here? And so Halo 5, just that element of that game was and also the campaign I thought was boring. So like as a longtime Halo fan, that was really disappointing to me.
A friend of mine literally bought another TV and another Xbox One to put right next to his, just so that his husband could play Halo split screen, or not split screen, but like co-op. Like this is the extent that
That's
they have
wrong.
to go.
That's
I
wrong.
know.
It's wrong because it's not even that. The game is not. I don't think that campaign is even worthy of that. It's just trying to keep up what they had done, and
But the guys at the people at Microsoft were like, wait, they bought 2 copies of the game?
Right.
They bought 2 consoles?
right, exactly.
Excellent.
We did it. Anyway, so that did frustrate me, and I just felt like there was a lack of like really good couch co-op. Besides that,
Well, there's also like Helldivers.
Helldivers was good. I did
Yeah.
play Helldivers. That is
we
That is a good point. But beyond
what I-
that, I think there was like some Resident Evil Revelations 2 was pretty solid. But beyond that, I just don't know what else I can point to.
There is a really good couch co-op game called Lego Dimensions.
Oh yeah, should I try it
You
out?
need
You
to check
should,
it out.
and you should take little Ben Hanson and show him how to play it.
Little bit.
I would appreciate. I would love to do
All
that
right,
soon.
I'm down.
right.
Otherwise, the worst game I played was I think Escape Dead Island this year.
Was that
was that
this
this
year?
year? I thought that was last year.
Was it not this year?
I don't
feels
know.
like a last
I don't know.
year.
It could have been last. Who knows?
I
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind for me was Dark, and I think that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that
but
was
it's
right-
just sitting there
That was
still.
close to Ride to Hell.
I
right
haven't
there.
had like a so awful like oh my gosh, but there are definitely games that really let me down. Tales of Zestiria, I was really pumped for. I'm a huge Tales fan, and that's the least fun I've had with a Tales game since Legendia, and I think Legendia came out on the PS2 in like 2000.
Can you name
I was
every?
bummed about that one, by the way, because Vesperia were huge fans of that, and we just want
And
another
I
one of that
actually
quality.
really liked Zillia for the most part.
Can we go through every Tales game because these names are fantastic?
Okay,
It starts
yeah.
with Destiny, right?
Yeah, you have Destiny.
Symphonia.
No, you have Rebirth, Rebirth 2, Legendia, Symphonia, Abyss,
Zillia.
Zillia 2, and now obviously we have Dysteria, and then there's a new one that begins with a B, and it's slipping my mind.
Bacteria?
Dysentery.
It's always, but it's coming out soon. But anyways, that game was the first time where I was just, the Tales games have always been a little bit behind in innovation and the curve, but I thought they were coming in with Zillia and trying to fix some of those things, and it felt like they went backward with Zesteria to the point where I'm like, I don't even know, like, how can you compete with the other games? Like, we're in this new console generation. It's like you're not even in the playing field at all. Like, you're sitting there on the side, just like hoping you can pinch hit, but you can't even. You're not even competing at all.
Yeah, one I would just want to throw out, just probably for you three. I don't know if you played it, Kim, but Star Wars Battlefront. As much fun as that game can be in small doses, I think for the year at large, I think that was a huge kind of disappointment in how little it offered, right?
Much like Ray on Jakku, you can scavenge some fun out of that game, but it is disappointing from what we all had expected from that series. I think rightfully so. You can hop in there for some decent split screen, throwing back to that, and just like shoot some bots and stuff like that.
We had a fine time doing that.
Had a fine time. But you know what? Like, it is dead. I think that's a good disappointment to
it's worth like 2 1/4 rations.
That's true. That's true. How much for the droid, though? This
60.
one's... We all like Star Wars. Jared from York, England writes in, "Hey guys, thanks for a great show. It's always good to get multiple viewpoints on games and gaming news. My question is, what was the first game you intentionally quit because you just couldn't be bothered? Not a game that you couldn't finish or had to quit because, not to quit, but one that you just thought, I don't care."
I don't care. So it's not a matter of like getting stuck. It's just a matter of...
It's just like, this is not worth my time.
Oh, God.
One that just jumps to mind is Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, I was expecting you to be like some Atari game.
Well, because they said first, but if you have one that's like...
Yeah, I can't.
It's a long time ago, but...
Yeah.
God, I mean, if I go all the way back...
I mean, I think that like...
Lufia?
Maybe?
I don't remember.
I think go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, as a kid, to go back that early, like, I guess I didn't really quit much because of the fact that like you had your games and that's what you played, especially if you bought them with your own money, especially in the early days. I don't even think I knew what bad was at that point.
Yeah.
Like growing up with the Nintendo and Atari and even Super Nintendo, at that point you didn't even know what to.
Right.
You just wanted to play a game.
Yeah.
So I don't think I had many that I quit per se. I think now if I go back, because I really liked, what was that game on Nintendo, Star Tropics? I wonder if that has held up at all, and I bet you it hasn't.
I remember it.
What is it?
Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Hide Glide on NES.
Hide Glide?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of
Screw
this.
that game.
How do you spell that?
HYDLIDE.
What the hell is it?
It's a bad game. It's a really bad game.
So you just rented it and you're like, what is this turd?
No, I think I bought it.
Wow.
And it was just so hard.
Congratulations.
And just confusing. I was just like, I can't be bothered. I'm done. Going back to Lufia. Oh, I hate this game too.
Put it down.
Everything sucks.
Can't be bothered. I guess these were 2 negative ones back to back, but
Jesus.
we'll get it out of there. We're gonna root it out, root out the evil, and get it out. Mine was when I was a kid. My brother, my big brother, traded our Sega Master System temporarily for his friend's Nintendo. So I temporarily had like this 1 week window where I could look on the other side. And my parents, like, we walked down to the video store. I think it was a Tidal Wave Video, old school stuff. Or maybe it was Mr. Movies. I can't remember what it was. But we went down there and I got to rent like 2 games. I think one of them was like a Popeye game, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh,
the other one was Gilligan's Island, and I don't know why I would end up with that.
What are you doing?
But
I remember that game.
There was an ape.
I want the sailor games, Daddy.
There was an ape that punched Skipper
I'm
in
your
the
little
face.
sailor, Daddy.
And Gilligan was like trying to make a raft or something, I think.
totally remember
You remember
that
this
game?
game?
Yes.
Yeah, but I was so entranced by like the idea that like, they dropped off some games like Final Fantasy, and I like hit my head against that longer, even though that was impenetrable to a kid that didn't have someone to explain it to you. But that Gilligan's Island game, I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
It's
We
like
should do that on replay. I want to see that.
That's what I was just going to say next week on replay.
Man, I don't even know. Like, damn it!
Gosh, I
Why
totally
did I
forgot
bring it
that
up?
existed.
I just want to hear
Yeah.
the theme song in a crappy NES.
It's probably like one of those weird NES games where they don't even have like the music you want to hear, just some B-raid Like, I don't know. Anyway, next one up is a really hard-hitting question here.
Uh-oh.
This is from Justin in Lansing, Michigan. I know what MI stands for. Hello, GI crew. I have one simple question for you. What is, in your opinion, the best type of cookie? Though I am a fan of most cookies, I have always been partial to iced oatmeal. Anxiously awaiting your answer.
Wait,
Justin.
what's his name?
Justin.
Justin.
oatmeal.
Iced oatmeal.
That's right.
Huh, that seems fine.
There's one answer.
There
I'll
is
eat
one
it.
answer.
I'll
There's-
eat the iced
There's
oatmeal.
very clearly one answer with a modifier on there.
No, with
It
a
is-
bullet.
All right, a modifier and a bullet. It is going to be Thin Mints in the freezer. I mean, there's nothing else that is even going to...
You're talking the Girl Scouts.
That's
Thin
right.
Mints.
I'm
Okay.
gonna say anything with peanut butter in it.
Anything with peanut butter.
Any cookie.
You guys are thinking too hard.
I think Hanson's right.
The answer is chocolate chip cookies. You can never get sick of a chocolate chip cookie. There's the right amount of sweet to it.
Yeah.
And also, if someone cooks it right, an offset of like buttery, slightly saltiness to
It's
it.
got to be warm,
That's
though.
undercooked. That's dangerous.
It doesn't need to be. It does not need to be the warm.
Doesn't need
Here's
to
the
be,
thing.
but it's
the warm ones are
ideal.
great, but even slightly overcooked, like crispy, crunchy chocolate chip cookies are just like just dump the dump truck into
So,
my.
I mean, it's a size difference thing with the Thin Mints, but if you had like, what, 3 Thin Mints equals a good size chocolate chip as far as like putting on the weight and the
Yes,
scale?
most Thin Mints are smaller than chocolate chip
Okay,
cookies.
and if you're saying you have 1 chocolate chip cookie or 3 cold Thin Mints, you would take chocolate chip.
Every single time.
Reiner.
So if there's a war of the cookies and you got Thin Mints Nation over here in the Republic of Chocolate Chips, I would say I want Thin Mints to crush the chocolate chips because
First
all I
order of
want
Thin
left,
Mints.
all I want left is Thin Mints because those are the best cookies on the planet.
So you both think that Thin Mints are the best.
Totally.
And Kim, you're
I
saying
would go chocolate chip over Thin Mints.
okay.
Wow, we're
But
divided.
something with peanut butter over chocolate chip. Mm-hmm. Why the hell Thin Mints? I get it.
They're delicious.
They
What do you
are
mean?
they are
They
super
are.
good.
Okay,
but like
the
why?
Girl Scout peanut butter cookies are great. Samoyas are great. Thin Mints are great. I get it, but I think Thin Mints are a little overrated.
I think
Get out of your
I love Thin Mints,
Yeah.
Kim, but I think that like mint at its core is something that you will get sick of
Yes,
faster
I
than
agree
chocolate
with that.
chip.
That's what I was thinking of.
I don't think so. I could eat a lot of
I could eat a
Andes.
whole box.
Put this to the
I brush
test.
my teeth every day. I'm not
With
sick
Thin
of
Mints?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm even going to throw one above chocolate chip cookies.
What's that?
For me? Those Keebler elves, they make those little fudge stripes, circular things that you put on your finger.
I don't need help making fudge stripes.
Those are good for like s'mores.
I will eat a whole tray. You
They're
know what I
good.
mean? Like there's like 4 trays. I'll eat a whole tray in a sitting.
No, I mean I'm not wiping my butt with a chocolate chip cookie, but above even a chocolate chip cookie, I think I'd put like there's probably a fancy name for this, I don't know, but a good moist sugar cookie. You know sugar cookies that are just
Yeah.
a little bit more moist than you expect them to be? Very few things are better
Yeah,
than that.
those are good. But settles the debate between Thin Mint and chocolate chip cookies. More often than not, and these are the chocolate chip cookies I'm talking about, they're goddamn homemade versus your machine
Sometimes.
made.
Well, if you're
Do you think
factoring
it's
in the love for your mother into this
No,
debate.
no. Anyone that made me a chocolate chip cookie is someone I love. All right, so that's given freely. But Thin Mints, it's not a bunch of Girl Scouts that are actually making these cookies
Yeah,
in
it
a
is.
factory somewhere, demanding the machines.
It's like the toys you get at Christmas from elves. It's the same kind
it
of
the
thing.
same thing?
It's the
It
exact
really
same
is.
thing.
Look it up.
Paid
Don't
about
be
the
ignorant
same.
anymore.
Anyway, chocolate chip cookies wins, so we can move on. Write in. Let us know about write in your question, but also add in what you think about chocolate chip
And
versus
send
Thin
us,
Mint.
Send us cookies.
I did not think it would come down to Thin Mint, too.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Of course.
Send us cookies, but not homemade ones. It's a
Why,
little
Tim?
weird.
That's what you want from the moms.
yeah. Moms across America.
Everyone, have your moms write in. Hi, GI. This is from Eric. Hi, GI. Love everything you guys do. And lots of kind words. Thank you, Eric. My question is, what spell effects or magic abilities do you tend to choose when playing games? Do you like charm abilities that turn dudes to your side, or freeze effects that lower enemy attacks? Think plasmids from BioShock or skill trees from Diablo 2. Here's to a great New Year. Oh yeah, by the way, Happy New Year to everybody.
Hey, Happy New Year.
That's from
Happy New
Eric.
Year.
Also, Eric is we know him from the community. He's in the band Mysidia, which is a plug
cool.
for them, which is a great metal band.
Huh. It's tough. I'm an idiot. And so whenever I have to choose like an ability, I always choose one that I think is going to be like the simplest. Like I don't want to get complex. Like a skill tree, it's like I don't want to add a new move to my lexicon. I just want to actually power up my base stuff. So that's one angle. But then in the Final Fantasy world, I love a blue mage. I love taking enemies' abilities. Anything that'll let me like
By concept or by like power?
I guess concept. Yeah, not
Okay.
that I think. I mean, every once in a while you find like those avenues where it's like, oh, this is really good. Like Gao in Final Fantasy VI, like came with like the White Wind. It's great. But
Because the blue mage is never going to probably be. It's like a green mage problem,
right,
kind
but
of.
they're always interesting.
They're interesting.
Yeah, so I like to do that, or anything that'll let me like control enemies in any way. I'll always gun for that. If
Okay.
that's an answer to this man's question.
Yeah, I think so. Kim,
I'm a pretty heated person, and I always go for fire abilities. I've always been that way. There's not like a rhyme or reason for it. It's just that's what I've always picked.
I think fire is my choice too, Kim. And I think if I had to guess, I have a couple. Like fire is always fun. It blows things up, and it's a classic like fireball. Like it's easy to understand why that's cool. But also, fireball is usually one of the earliest things you unlock. So then you've become familiar with it, and if you're upgrading it, you're like, well, I'll upgrade the one I already have, so it gets stronger instead of spending that point to learn freeze or something. And freeze is always like way more inconsistent in games and like how useful it is. I think.
And I like getting like the burn side effects from it.
Oh yeah. If it does damage over time, that's always great.
Feel the burn.
Feel it.
I think, Reiner, do you have one?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the tanks going up and dealing damage. So I like support. If I have to have a party, I'll have kind of two heavies and then someone healing. So I always like the healing spells or, the different things, different effects you can give, stuff like that over the attacks.
Yeah.
But I do like the elements. Don't get me wrong. Like wielding those is good fun.
If it's given the choice, if healing is an option, considering I don't know if it's the way I play games or I'm bad. Like if I can heal myself, and I'll usually be getting my ass kicked. So yeah, healing myself is a big part of it. Or luck is actually underrated too. I think in some
luck is really underrated.
Yeah, it's really fun in games like Fallout and stuff like that. I think I went pretty heavy on luck there. So
what was just a really deep dive? Final Fantasy X, the ability to speed up your characters. What was that spell called?
Haste.
Man, in that game.
Oh yeah.
Was the best thing.
You should. It's like haste and shield on everyone all the time.
That was the best.
Yeah. All right. I think last one here.
Okay.
What do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, make it a quick one.
Yeah. Chris from West Roxbury, Massachusetts. That's MA, isn't it? No, Maryland.
That's Maine.
Is it Maine?
I'm just
Do
kidding.
you want us to print out a cheat sheet, like a quarterback wristband that you can have? with all these-
What's MA?
I think it's Maine. I'm not saying I know.
No,
him.
I think he's right.
Yeah. Well,
Maine can't be MN. It can't be
ME.
ME.
that's true.
Oh,
What a fun little mini game.
Guys, it's
within-
Massachusetts.
it is.
Exactly,
Were we
you guys.
all wrong?
Of course.
Fun little
Nailed it.
cheat sheet.
Nailed it.
No, I'm not saying I know it. I'm just saying
You
this
said it. You
I
said it like
said
a
it
jerk.
was Massachusetts.
All right. All right. Anyway, Chris is waiting. All right. To cut to the chase. Lots of kind words. Thank you, Chris, about the show. But to boil it down, what games do you think benefit from QTEs and which suffer as a result of their inclusion? And we've talked about QTEs before. But I think
I actually did an editorial on this recently. How I thought the heavy rain scene where you cut off your finger, having a QTE there was so effective for me. Just because of the whole you have to put the shaky hand down, and shake it, and you're like, I don't know if I can do it.
You gotta-
I can do it.
you're in control
Yeah.
of how fast that process
Yeah.
happens.
Do you for the Walking Dead games when they have brutal, gruesome moments? You like the QTEs in that too, as long as it's associated with something that's tough to watch.
Shiny
No,
button.
it really does depend because I hate the QTs that are like, oh, let's press a button to go up a ladder. Like that stuff, I'm just like, why can't I just go up the ladder? It drives me nuts. But I like it when it's effective in a scene, or say your sword gets stuck in the ground and there's an enemy coming with you. If you have to keep going, tap, 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 get that freaking sword out to kind of create that emotion of
You like that?
yeah, I do.
It works in some instances.
works in some instances.
Like in Lords of Shadow, there's the part where there's probably my favorite part of the game where you're in the giant hall and the sun is going down and you're fighting vampires for one of the early parts in the game and all the windows are boarded up and you have to use your chain cross to pull down the boards off the windows to keep up with the setting sun. And you have to jam on it and creates tension in that moment.
Yeah.
That part's awesome.
I think that was
When it creates good tension that, it works. What does it work for you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of an instance where I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this is a QTE right now.
Well, I never have said I'm so glad this is a QT, but I can see why it's more effective than
Right,
sure.
if you just had to press one thing to cut your finger off. It would just
Right.
be or watch that as cutscene.
It forces you to look at it.
Yeah.
You can't look away like it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's just I'm responsible
Yeah,
for
I
this
have to
thing.
do this.
Yeah.
I can't look away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one that's I've never seen done before, and I don't even know if it's QTE, but Until Dawn, the don't move,
Oh,
where you have the controller
opposite.
and the light,
Yeah.
where they just have you just sit still, and if you move your controller,
So it's the
too
opposite
much,
of a QTE?
yeah. So, but I mean, it kind of is, right? The keeping it as steady as you can is the gameplay mechanic.
Interesting. Sure.
Reiner,
I thought that was brilliant.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like that's the entire reason I pulled this question or pulled this email is because like one of the most like I don't know sleeper hit surprises of 2015 was Until Dawn, and like that game is a series of QuickTime events. But why that worked so well, I think, is because like to keep pace with that, like if you were doing all these meticulous things and moving your character and like doing platforming or something, it would screw up the pace of that and the immediacy of it. And you just need to have those snap decisions be QTEs in some instances. And I think it worked because of the rapidity of the situations that you're in and how quickly you have to answer. Like it's just the sheer mass of decisions you have to make and how quickly you see the effects of them is what makes those work there, I think. So
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Hanson, have you not played Until Dawn?
I started it. I didn't get too far. I was trying to play at a friend's house. And
I can't believe you. Oh, you don't like scary things though.
Or gore.
or just darkness in general.
Or going outside.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who we have to decide on a winner.
Oh wow. Those
I don't
were some
wanna
really
be
good questions.
Email of the week.
I don't like being negative, but I kind of like the disappointments of 2015.
too.
Maybe it's because like all I've been thinking about is ranking top 10 games of 2015 and all that stuff.
I think that's topical with our top 50 hitting and
Yeah, you know, like check out our the Doom issue, which has our top 50 games 2015. There's actually we rank like the top 10 disappointments of the year and stuff like that, and successes, and so there's a more official list there. But that's from Trevor from New Orleans. So thank you, Trevor. And if you got a email or a question or anything you want to write into us, it's at podcast@GameInformer.com. So Trevor will get you something in the mail. I'm gonna send something around Game Informer, and people are going to sign it. I'll reveal that, and then we're going to put it in a package. Is this I want the mug though. Can I just send the handle?
He loves that.
That'll
mug.
technically work. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send a porcelain broken coffee mug handle.
and Hanson's beard signed
right.
by the staff.
Great. Yeah, I know Andy loves that.
Also, we want to take a moment to plug some cool stuff that's happening on GameInformer.com.
What's the coolest thing happening on GameInformer.com right now? Tim?
Right now, I'd say that we've begun kicking off our Best of 2015 genre-specific awards.
Oh, boy.
Today we have the best of the action genre going up, which is a broad genre. But there is some good stuff going on in there, and then that's going to keep rolling for a few days. We already have our best of awards for our overall best of 2015 awards up, and also the Reader's Choice Awards for the best of the game.
On a similar note, I would plug the developer top 10s and favorite games of 2015. I'm always
Those were
fascinated to
great.
read those, and I think we're gonna have a roundup of all those you can check out. We just went around to some people in the industry, some guests on the podcast previously, and got their top 10s for 2015. So it's fun to read those.
Yeah.
I would say every Thursday and Sunday we have our super replay of Martian Gothic.
What is a super replay, Reiner?
It is a full playthrough of a video game. Ben Hanson?
Just the good ones, or
Nope. Martian Gothic is not a good game. It is one of the worst games Tim Terry's ever played, or he is quickly learning is one of the worst games he's ever played.
What's interesting about Martian Gothic is not that it's like technically a bad game. It's just one of the biggest pain in the asses as far as a design.
you don't want to. If I really want to sell people listening on it, there's a lot of juggling limited inventories between 3 separated characters using pneumatic tubes.
Survival horror PS1 game set on Mars.
Yeah, but it's
cool.
incidentally set on Mars. It's just like, hey, you're on Mars, but you'll never know because you don't go outside ever.
This is like some sort of Martian ghost house.
That's a good impression. Was that your Kenzo?
Yeah.
And then, real quick, before we get to Kim's, we also have the super replay of Beyond Good and Evil going at the same time. And that is a good game. And on that one, we don't have a set schedule. It's whenever I get to it.
Yeah, you can check them out on YouTube for an easy hub for all
I
that
think
stuff.
we have 7 of those episodes out.
You bet. Kim, what stands out to you?
Well, unsurprisingly, I pulled the staff and we did our most anticipated RPGs of 2016, and this year is looking pretty damn good. But I always say, get excited at the beginning of the year, and I'm like, I know 1 or 2 of these are going to drop to the next year.
Yeah,
but right now, I think Mass Effect Andromeda has a good chance of that. Maybe even Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought we would have seen more of that. Which that's a game that we don't know right now. We're looking up. We're like, is this more an action game or an RPG? And we are looking at an interview with the developers.
They don't even know.
They just it's like a cross between Assassin's Creed and Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, and I'm like, what
does that even mean?
What does that mean? I guess we'll know,
Then he
but
ran
I'm
away.
just saying, like, that's why we decide to include it, because we don't know yet. But yeah, that's a great. Persona 5 is coming this year, which I've been anticipating, as we know, for a long time.
And that's PS4 and PS3
yes.
still?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15 this year
Yes,
too?
Final Fantasy 15 is this. So it's a
boy.
pretty big year for the genre. And I think there's not much that, like I said, even little games like Bravely Second, that's the Bravely Default follow-up, is coming this year. So it's just like there's a lot to be excited about.
Awesome.
I can't wait to review Persona 5.
It's going to be so sweet for you.
What's next?
Hey, should we talk about something we have coming up on the podcast this year?
Sure.
Cool.
So we've been talking about game clubs for a while. We've teased it.
Like a book club.
It's exactly like a book club. Basically, we want to play a game along with the community. And Tim and I have been volleying around 1,000 different games and debating, like, I've played that, or that wouldn't be interesting, that's too boring, yada, yada, yada. But over the break...
Sometimes we would say, that's too long.
That's right. So contrary to that, sent Tim a text over the break, like, hey, do you want to do this as a game club? I think people might dig it. And Tim's like, yep. And we already got someone in the office playing it, so like, let's just go for it. So we're here to formally announce that the first game club game that's going to be a section of this podcast, Final Fantasy VII, everybody. One of my favorite games ever. And it's been a hell of a long time since I've played through it. So basically, how this is going to work?
And it's on people's minds.
On people's minds.
The remake's coming. They just released it on PS4.
Yep.
So you can play it on PlayStation 1. You can download it on PS3, on PC, Vita. Like, there's so many ways to play
iOS.
it. We recommend playing the PC port, where you can turn off battles or speed up time or max out your limit breaks. It will help people, I think, stay invested where it might start to lag in some parts.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way this is going to work is the final segment of the podcast coming up in the future. We're going to be discussing everything about Final Fantasy VII, and we're going to be breaking it up into sections. So the first episode, which will be appearing in a couple of weeks, we're going to be playing up through Midgar.
Get out of Midgar.
Basically, when you see the world map, shut off your PS4 or whatever you're playing.
Throw it away.
Throw it out that window. And then we're just going to take a deep dive into everything Final Fantasy VII, which it's nice to be able to have an avenue to talk about games that are that long on this site.
For sure.
And not all game clubs are going to be retro. Not all of them are going to be this long.
Right.
I'm assuming this is going to be the longest.
This is a call. We decided on this because we were personally excited about it, and we think there's a lot of excitement out there. I think there's a lot of people that are excited for Final Fantasy VII, but maybe haven't played the original in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it will remind people to send in emails and because we want to interact with you, and like, if you have a question for us or a point of debate or just something that you noticed this time around. We're thinking about something to focus on for the Midgar sequence.
Yeah.
I think something that's cool would be just to kind of take a look at like how the game's put together. It was such a leap from the 16-bit era to the 32-bit era. And just take a look at how those 3D character models like work against like the static backgrounds and how Midgar's put together, like the sense of place you might have in it.
Yeah.
I think would be a cool thing to determine, like just pay attention to Midgar as a place that you spend so much time in outside of the world map,
Also, Midgar lore is something that's more interesting. I just started playing through it a little bit, and I was like, God, there's more interesting details in here than I remember.
Right.
Yeah, just hearing what you're saying, I would like to hear people's thoughts on the society, what they think that world at large is like.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to talk about all that stuff.
I think this is a great choice.
Oh, great.
for
So
the first
Joe
one.
Juba is going to be joining us. There's an open slot. If somebody else in the Game Informer staff would like to, we'll send an email out around it. If anybody else wants to replay Final Fantasy VII. But we're really looking forward to it just on a community level of taking this deep dive with you guys. And you can send us emails. We'll follow along.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll definitely give you a heads up for when that episode is going to be airing. But for now, if you would like to, we encourage you to play Final Fantasy VII up until Midgar.
Absolutely.
Until you exit Midgar. But yeah, it should be fun. But do you guys want to move on to the final section of the podcast?
Let's do
we've
it.
kept hidden? Oh, yes,
Really
Reiner?
quick though, if they play up to that point, do they send you stuff like emails or
Yeah,
what?
for sure.
Okay.
Podcast at GameInformer.com. Yep. So send emails with feedback or questions or discussion topics or things
Like
that you appreciate.
subject line Final Fantasy Game Club, something
Yeah,
like that.
I think it'll
we'll
stand
figure
out.
it out.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice to throw it in there to help organize things, but nothing necessary. But for the final segment of this podcast, we're doing a little back of the box trivia.
Oh,
Sounds good.
And this is not going to be a typical back of the box trivia. This is going to be themed for the first time ever. Normally it's just a scatter shot, just walk into the vault with a shotgun. But
I
this
can't
time,
wait to find out. You should save it. Tease it.
there's a certain theme that might fit this podcast episode specifically. So stay tuned after the break and we'll play some game trivia. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We're doing a little bit of game trivia, our classic back-of-the-box trivia.
Fun.
So the way this works, if you've never listened before, it's a new year, who knows? I go into Game Informer's vault, where we have almost every game ever made with my trusty iPhone here, and I take pictures of the back of game boxes. Then I come down here, I'm going to read, omitting key words and phrases, I'm going to read the description on the back of these game boxes. You guys buzz in when you think you know what game it is by saying your own name.
Reiner, have you played this before?
No.
Damn it.
Tim thinks he's pretty high on the hog.
I haven't been defeated.
Well, in the games that you've played, you have technically by reads, and you haven't
Reiner,
played
can you
every
set
round.
this? I am undefeated.
No, you're not. You're technically not undefeated in any way.
Who won the other one?
Ben Reeves has beaten you.
Oh.
He was in the vault with him while he was picking.
Oh, that doesn't
So he might have
count.
looked over. Oh, so there's an asterisk
That
next to
doesn't
that
count,
one.
yeah.
It's not like he deliberately cheated, but he's like, oh yeah, I guess I was in the vault technically.
It's like Roger
Also-
Maris, Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Also,
Roger
other
Maris.
Yes.
Oh, we've played without you. Also,
But that
so
doesn't
it gets
mean
confusing.
That's the thing that
personally,
we
from
had
your
this
vantage
debate
point,
last time.
there's an asterisk.
I have never been defeated.
Look,
even
the
though
point is, you buzz in with your name. Everybody gets
a team
one
can be
guess.
defeated undefeated
Oh
all
my God,
year.
Jim, you're the best. All right, you're the best. Forget about it, kid.
I'm just saying I'm technically right.
Not technically. There's an
I am.
asterisk.
I'm technically right.
Anyways, you buzz in with your name. Everybody gets one guess.
Okay.
If two people guess and buzz in, then the third person legally has to say, I could get used to this, and put their hands behind their head
Wait,
as
what?
they read the rest of the description for the back of the box.
Yeah, if you're the last one, like if you know Reiner and I both say our names and give our guess and we blow it, and Kim, you're able just to listen to at your own leisurely pace, Ben read the rest of the description.
So I have to go. I could get used to this.
That's
just
it.
like that.
You got it.
And then you can take your time and listen to it all.
First to 5 points wins.
Okay.
Now, this is a themed episode.
Okay.
For the first time ever.
Reiner.
Oh man.
That's it. Actually, first point goes
It's
to Reiner.
themed by Reiner.
So, because of this episode, because we talked about Trails of Cold Steel, we talked about the new Amplitude, these are all PlayStation 2 games.
Okay.
PlayStation 2,
Okay.
everybody.
So this is PlayStation 2 themed.
The largest collection in the vault, I would
Okay.
argue.
Whew. All right. I'm ready.
You guys ready? PlayStation 2 games. New York, 1979. A battle on the streets. The armies of the night number 60,000 strong.
Tim,
Tim.
the Warriors.
Tim, 1 point out of the
Yeah,
gate.
I
The
wouldn't have
Warriors by
gotten that.
Rockstar, PS2. Experience an unforgettable journey into a land forgotten by time. A seamless world filled with miles of majestic terrain.
Tim,
Tim.
Shadow of the Colossus.
God dang it! Come on, you guys! Don't let this jackass
How does he
take
get
this!
that? How?
God!
That told me nothing about the
It
game.
told me nothing. Miles of majestic what?
Terrain.
He must
No.
have read the back of the box.
I mean, he
on
was in
that
the vault
reason.
with
At
me,
some
but-
point in my life, I definitely have.
What?
I'm just joking. All right. Ready? The time for judgment has come. A hero with a mysterious past. A young girl holding the key to world domination. A villain who will stop at nothing to unlock the path to unlimited power. Prepare to experience an RPG unlike any other. Welcome to the world of blank. Engage in action-packed, turn-based combat using the Judgment Ring to
Kim.
determine Kim.
Shadow Hearts.
There we go. Shadow Hearts.
Very nice.
Kim.
Very nice.
Judgment Ring. Nice.
There we go. Kim's at 1. Tim's at 2. Reiner, I think that's a goose egg, but I'm not entirely
Nah,
sure.
it's just ghostly.
Oh, yeah, you're taking your time. It's
a good
Counting on
score.
you here, Reiner. Blank takes the blank tradition of groundbreaking and original gameplay and humorous, tongue-in-cheek storytelling to an entirely new setting. The
Reiner.
Jack.
Jack 2.
Incorrect. I was about to say, the schoolyard.
Tim.
Tim.
Bully.
Dang it!
I was just
it.
gonna. She just is too fast with
The
the.
humorous thing, I went Naughty Dog. on
No,
that.
as soon as you said schoolyard, I was gonna go.
Good bet. Work together to prevent hair loss. The clock is running in the massive 3D action maze game for the whole family. Blank are off to the moon, literally. The annual Festival of the Moon is about to take place, but nobody can find the moon. So the adventurous rabbits vow to bring it back.
Tim.
Tim.
Cookies and cream.
Dang it, Tim!
Wow.
I wouldn't have known that. I didn't play that one.
Holy crap. Was it the blank and blank?
Cooperative Rabbits. PS2.
I was thinking Rabbids.
Yeah, so was I.
okay,
So was
gotcha.
I.
It's
like, which
actually.
one
I
was
like,
on
Yeah,
there?
which one? Yeah.
I'm gonna get pretty rabid if Tim winds up winning this
Sorry.
thing. He's at 4 points right now, y'all.
Undefeated.
You're picking games.
Oh
I
crap!
don't
He only
play.
needs one more point. Kim.
Pick Shadow Hearts, Kim.
We got it.
I got a point off
We got to
that.
buzz in early here. We
Yeah.
can't let.
I
him-
would have had
Yes.
Bully, but he just like I don't even know how he did it. So like it's
Keep your feet wet and your powder dry.
Tim.
Tim.
SSX tricky.
Incorrect, you SOB. As an elite blank commander, your
Not even
team
close.
has been called to fight terrorists in 12 of the most deadly missions ever. With more than 30 weapons, superior intelligence, intense training, and unparalleled skills and tactical maneuvers at your disposal, protect freedom wherever it is in danger.
Reiner. Call of Duty 2.
Incorrect. Engage enemy terrorists via intense team-based gameplay. Association with blank provides realistic blank actions and mission designs. Battle lethal enemies in single-player mode or match strategy and gunpowder with and against 16 players via online gameplay. I know it. Headset inside.
I know what it is.
Utilize the
I know
blank
what it is.
headset to communicate and plan strategies with fellow blanks in single-player and online broadband gameplay.
This one.
That's the entire
Can,
box.
can I say it if she's not going to guess it?
I don't think she said the key phrase, did she?
Well, I could get used to this.
That's right. Now take your guess.
SOCOM.
What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Kim.
I thought you just told me to.
It's SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs, but Kim still had time.
USA. All right.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
look.
I never played
Sorry.
so.
I'll just give the point away from Tim for that. So you're
Yeah,
down to
he
3.
gets 3.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I still have that headset. I use it to Skype sometimes.
Oh, gross.
What?
It works just in any USB port.
With your
okay.
commando friends? High speed, big air, full contact racing. Above the trees, over the pack, across the line. Downhill racing rivalry. 8 unreal worlds with unlimited terrain. Mountain mosh pit. Big points for insane tricks.
Tim? ATV Off-Road Fury?
Incorrect.
Is that it?
That's it.
I'm comfortable with this.
No, you're neither of you have guessed. There's still
yeah.
There's still
there's
uh,
nothing to get used
I
to.
just want to do this.
It is 2 players. It supports the 8 megabyte memory card on the PS2, and it has vibration.
Oh.
That's the whole box. Can you read it again?
Big points for insane tricks. Mountain mosh pit. High speed, big air, full contact racing. Downhill racing rivalry. 8 unreal worlds with unlimited terrain. Above the trees, over the pack, across the line.
Reiner. SSX.
Reiner on the board with SSX right after he guessed tricky.
That's why you did it.
Yeah.
No, it was genuinely the next in line. It was genuinely the next in line.
They were
I was
generalizing.
thinking of that. I was thinking like, oh, he switched to it, but I don't know the difference between the SSXs. And I'm like, what are the odds?
That one seemed like the first entry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should read about the Battle of the SSXs. Born with the mark of the blank, Joseph possesses a power greater than emperors and gods. As a child, he summoned a demon to save his village and watched in horror as those he loved were destroyed. 9 years later, the armies of Orenia invade, and Joseph must confront the prophecy he was born to fulfill. Traverse a beautifully, completely original world spanning 2 continents. Encounter hundreds of characters and battle in real time with a 5-person party. Cast spectacular spells, wield an arsenal of weapons, clad yourself in the armor of a warrior. Summon red minotaurs, black imps, golems, and other powerful allies. Oh, IGN.com says blank is an absolute must-have game for the PlayStation 2, which is funny.
Can you read it again?
Yeah, IGN says
Joseph.
blank is an
know this is
absolute
gonna drive me
must-have game
nuts.
for PlayStation 2.
Joseph.
Born with the mark of the blank, Joseph possesses a power greater than emperors and gods. As a child, he summoned a demon to save his village and watched in horror as those he loved were destroyed.
Reiner. This is going to be wrong. Okami.
Incorrect.
Kim,
Kim.
Arc the Lad, Twilight Spirits.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Tim.
Who the hell is Joseph?
Dude, I don't know.
No, you're not even going to venture a guess?
I could get used to this, Mark of the. I mean, that's what they say in there.
Yeah, it's not though.
I'm just killing time until I think of a PlayStation 2 game I never played. Like
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No guess. Summoner, ladies and gentlemen. Summoner.
I thought of the word
I wouldn't
Summoner.
get
but
that,
I thought that was a PS3 game.
Nope. It's a launch PS2 game, which is why it's funny that IGN's like, you've got to have it.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the
That's
game I'm
what
talking
threw
about?
me off.
Okami, by the way. The
Okagi Shadow King?
Okagi. That's the one. I was thinking. The
I like
Shadow
Okagi
King.
Shadow
Yeah.
King.
I think Akami's protagonist is not named Joseph. It's Amaterasu.
It's close.
very close.
It's very close.
I was like, who's an RPG character named
thinking,
Joseph?
yeah,
Like, I'm just
Okagi, yeah.
going.
I thought of Summoner just because he summons a demon. I don't know. Whatever.
All right.
But I didn't think of it
Damn
well
it.
enough.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Join the revolution. Lured to blank by the Ultor Corporation's promise of a better life, thousands have
Reiner.
Reiner.
Red Faction.
Yeah, Reiner. There we go.
Nice.
Nicely done. Oh boy. Go beyond the film. Take control of the characters and storyline from one of the most influential films of our time. Play through the signature moments from the movie as well as scenes only discussed in the film.
Tim.
Tim.
Enter the Matrix.
Incorrect. Including the diamond heist and stashing the goods.
Reiner. The Godfather.
Incorrect. Pro/psycho system. Are you a psychotic maniac or the consummate professional? Choose your playstyle and unlock different endings. Featuring the signature super sounds of the 70s songs from the film. Featuring the voice and likeness of Michael Madsen.
I was close. I know what it is. Damn it. I was
Bring it
super
down.
close.
You're
Yeah.
giving her tips.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Yeah, nothing.
Reservoir Dogs.
Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. It's doggies, technically.
When did you get it? It was the Psychopath versus Calm
Madsen.
Collecting.
Madsen.
I didn't even
Okay.
know they had a game of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
I think we
Kim,
tried
you
to-
gotta
Really?
play it.
God, why did I buzz in so early?
That's the problem.
play it.
It's the trade-off.
That's
'Cause
why
you
I was
already
thinking
guessed.
of game stuff that I knew had a movie that turned into a game, but I didn't even know they had existed.
The stashing of the goods made me think The Godfather, like the gun.
was
Was that Godfather 2?
I don't remember. I haven't seen him.
Blank is back to crush blank for good. By harnessing the destructive power of the 4 elements, blank creates crunch. A super blank with one mission. Demolish all that lies before him. Will Blank and Coco be up to the challenge?
Reiner. Crash Bandicoot Time Warp?
Incorrect. Will Blank and Coco be up to the challenge? You bet they're blank. You bet
Tim?
you're blank they will. Tim.
Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex.
Dang it, Tim!
Oh, there we
The
go.
4th
We're-
Crash game. Tim
All right.
takes it. 5 points. Well
Wow.
done.
I was going to say Twin Sanity. That's
All
another
I
one,
played
right?
on the
Yeah,
PS2 was
Nice.
RPGs, so you had the one in there. I don't
well done,
count
dude.
Summoner,
Thanks.
so
Thanks.
I knew I was screwed.
That was a slaughter.
Undefeated.
That was a
Hey, I
slaughter.
had 2.
Reiner's at 2. Kim's at
Okay,
1.
All right.
I could get used to this.
Oh, I hate you so
Hey,
much.
but I was close with Crash there, too.
You were.
I
You
would've
were.
made it
You gave it
close.
away. You guys want to keep going through the
job.
rest?
Yeah, sure. Let's
right.
knock them out.
Play
Keep track of
We
points,
still
too.
vote.
Yeah. Still vote. Still same system. Play the action movie. Scion is a blank in a Dog Street bar called Fate. An organized kidnapping by the Mikado Group Special Forces draws Scion and his friends.
Tim?
Tim.
Is this the bouncer?
God dang it! Yes. Play the action movie.
I was like, that's not a movie.
I started thinking movie,
Yeah.
like not just original
I'm
property.
also getting in Ben's head too. Like, what would Ben gravitate towards?
That's true. These are other games that I like.
Yeah.
The #1 fighting game series of all time.
Tim.
Tim.
Mortal Kombat 5, Deadly Alliance.
Incorrect. You cocky piece of ass.
Ah, nothing's on the
#1
line
fighting
anymore.
game series of all time. Oh, actually, it's all on the line, Tim.
No.
Walls drop. Series of all time returns with a vengeance on the PlayStation 2. Reiner.
Street Fighter Alpha.
Incorrect. #1 fighting game series of all time returns with a vengeance on the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system, and all of your favorite characters are back.
Oh.
Features 7 game modes, including the new tag battle system, which pits 2-on-2 blank combat.
This is a wrestling game, isn't it?
Unlock special hidden characters, secret game modes, and the new cinematic sequences for character teams. 34 total characters from blank, blank 2, blank 3, and more than 2,000 moves.
The name of the game.
Starts with
5, 4,
Destiny, the blank
3,
king.
2, 1.
Tekken Tag Tournament.
That's it.
Yep.
Launch
There you
game.
go.
Tekken Tag Tournament.
Damn it. Tekken. Number
We knew
one
it.
fighting game.
Yeah,
No,
isn't
it's
that
not, though.
confusing?
They're just lying.
Maybe they were for a while.
No, they're just lying.
Yeah.
They're just lying. Rise from the rookie driver to hero of the silver screen.
Tim.
Tim.
Stuntman.
Dang it.
Statement 2.
Life and death at the end of the universe. Blank transports you to the farthest reaches of the solar system, playing as the reluctant hero Leo Stenbuck. You'll command a giant mechanized robot into high-speed aerial combat against a heavily armed rogue military regime.
Tim? Zone of the Enders?
Dang it,
I was
Tim!
going to say that.
Thousands of years into the future, man exists only in deep space. Brutally opposed by a merciless alien race, humanity faces an uncertain destiny as it unlocks the secrets of the universe in search of the ultimate truth.
Reiner.
Reiner.
Rogue Galaxy?
Incorrect. An epic
Why?
adventure delivering
Kim,
over...
Xenosaga.
There we go.
Nice.
Xenosaga, Episode 1. Nicely done. From the creator and developer of the 20 million selling blank series comes the next generation in interactive entertainment. Enter a new world of magic and adventure, exploration and discovery, where enormous vistas and exotic characters lead you to places beyond your imagination. Test your wits and skills as you embark on a journey to reverse your best friend's transformation.
Jack
Tim.
and Daxter.
Dang it, Tim. All right.
Really? That was the build-up on the back of the
Yeah,
box?
right? They were trying to
Jack
say...
and
They
Daxter?
name-dropped Crash Bandicoot right away. That's
Yeah.
what he blinked out.
Totally. You've been betrayed and left for dead. Now you're taking revenge. Unless the city gets you first.
Tim.
Tim.
Manhunt.
Incorrect.
Wait, hold on a second.
Mob bosses need a favor. Crooked cops need help, and street gangs want you dead. You'll have to rob, steal, and kill just to stay out of serious trouble. Anything can happen out there. IGN.com, our old friend, says blank expands the very idea of what a game has traditionally been.
Whoa.
Maxim says
Maxim.
a mafiosa masterpiece.
I know the game.
Reiner. The Godfather again?
Incorrect. This is the kind of praise from IGN that totally holds up.
Yeah.
Blank expands the very idea of what a game has traditionally been.
I have no idea.
This one really holds up? It's not Max Payne?
Not Max Payne.
Is it The Getaway?
Incorrect.
Holy hell.
Think of
it-
genuinely.
Grand Theft Auto?
Yep. Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh,
Oh,
There we go.
God,
oh.
that's a really
That is a
bad
really bad
description.
description.
Yeah, it really is. All right. Discover the secret that will unravel an empire. As war looms on the horizon, the mighty Arcadian Empire begin to campaign.
Tim.
Tim.
Final Fantasy 12.
Tim.
You know your factions.
Oh, thank you.
And then I just have in my photo gallery a map of Dairy Queen. But I think that's for after work. I have to pick something.
I recommend a chili cheese hot dog.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really great. Well, I think if I would have been keeping score throughout all that, Kim
think it's-
clearly would have won.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
The only thing that's got to happen at some point, Ben, is just you and me face off. Someone has to choose game. That's
I
it.
would love to do that. I will
but
pick
then
some
if it's
zingers.
if it's 1v1, it's going to be very much like Ben knows this game, Tim knows this game, Ben knows this game. Like we know each other so well. I feel like you can
See,
really
that's
tilt
why
it.
I think this is already fixed.
Well, no. Someone else chooses for
Do you know
us.
how many RPGs were in that stack?
Someone else chooses for us.
2.
Oh, wait. So they don't know that we're the ones going up against each other?
No, they just choose. Hey, go do back. Back of the box trivia. They don't know who's playing, and then they choose
Right.
it, and then we face off.
And it's the entire vault?
Yes, that's correct, and we can't leave.
No. I mean, like it's not like a
I think you do a
special
theme.
category.
I think you
theme?
do a theme.
What would the theme be?
I don't know.
We can't
Let's talk
tell
about
you,
it later.
because then you'll start
All right, I
researching.
absolutely want to do that 1v1.
Okay.
Yeah.
If people
I-
have suggestions, they can fire them out to us.
suggestions on how to take down this maniac's
Yeah.
ego.
More
It's the
RPGs.
ultimate.
If you want to
damn it.
influence our back of the box trivia game, send suggestions.
It's impressive.
for podcastgame4.com.
Yeah,
well,
Tim's ego is the 17th Colossus. It turns out.
It's just factually true that I've been undefeated. Reiner,
it's not.
Reiner, hold on a second. Just be quiet for a second. If two teams are facing each other at the same game, you can say that one team's been undefeated all season, even if they've never faced another team who's been undefeated all season.
That is
Correct.
true, actually.
That's
yeah.
how that works. I'm undefeated at this game when
I didn't
I've
follow
been
that analogy.
challenged.
No, you aren't, because Ben Reeves beat you.
He was in the vault.
He did not even look at that crap.
You
That
made
is just a weird asterisk.
But-
I didn't say, hey, Reeves, look over here.
No, but you on the podcast after he swept that one,
Yeah.
you pointed it out that like,
Right.
well, also Ben, weren't you in the vault with
Yeah,
me?
we figured
when
it
I
out
was-
afterwards.
So maybe, and he like laughed. He's like, oh yeah, I was.
Well, it was a pretty good memory of something.
All right,
that was
maybe we
4
just gotta
years
get
ago.
him back on here.
Look,
Yeah.
thanks everybody for joining us. on
This
this
is to
episode of the Game
defend
Informer
my honor
Oh
from
my
you,
God.
you
Too
monster.
much. It's too much. I can't stand it. I can't stand confidence. Anyways,
suffocating from your ego right now.
thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. We're looking forward to a whole new year of Game Informer show.
Thanks for
be
listening.
sure, if you're interested, now would be a really good time to start playing Final Fantasy VII and
Yes.
join us in that discussion. Send those emails. It'll be a really good time. So we're kicking off our game club with a biggie, but a goodie. All right, and that's it
Yes.
for this episode of the Game Informer show. Be sure to tune in next week for a whole new episode. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.